accused of, they have to be consequences that is taking place. We have high senior officials that are implicated in the highest of corruption that is taking place.
Meanwhile, journalists are arguing in court for permission to broadcast live after Lerotla's legal team objected to him being recorded. Tshwane's suspended Chief Financial Officer Gareth Mnisi has been taken to task at the Madlanga Commission today for involving his friend in an internal invoice dispute between the municipality and a service provider. WhatsApp chats before the Madlanga Commission show Mnisi regularly interacted about the invoices of service provider Gubi's 85 Solutions. Gubi's had allegedly provided ad hoc security services for the city and had not been paid for over 6 months. Thabiso Koba reports.
It's been alleged at the Madlanga Commission that Gubi's 85 Solutions received preferential treatment from the Tshwane municipality and may have filed invoices for work not done. When the company had a problem with its invoices not being paid, Sergeant Faninkosi took up the responsibility of lobbying senior officials within the municipality on its behalf. One of those officials was Tshwane's CFO, Gareth Mnisi. Co-Commissioner Sandile Khumalo pressed Mnisi on this.
And all of that is appropriate to you, that somebody who's not employed by the city of Tshwane, who is not a representative of Gubi's, is participating in all discussions relating to outstanding Gubi's payments.
Mnisi says he didn't share confidential information with Nkosi and admitted in hindsight he could have handled the situation better by not involving him. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
The ANC says it will consider replacing mayors in major cities with its chosen electoral candidates even before the local government elections. Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula has defended the party's decision to consider candidates outside of regional leadership to represent the party in municipal councils. Mbalula briefed journalists today where he outlined the party's election action plan. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
In a break from tradition, the ANC is casting its net wider than its formal structures to find suitable mayoral candidates in attempts to wrest back full control of metros and major cities. Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula says this is neither a slight on elected leadership nor on the supporters who elected them, and local leaderships will not be discounted in the selection process.
We will go for the best, and we are not confining ourselves to who got elected. If the chairperson of the region among those who are interviewed is the person we believe can be the mayoral candidate, that will be it.
Mbalula says the party wants its successful candidates to begin work immediately.
We are running an ANC-led election campaign, not personalities. We are electing mayoral candidates just for quality assurance.
The ANC is set to announce its mayoral candidates for major cities by the end of June. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Tributes are pouring in following news of the passing of legendary actress and beauty queen Cynthia Shange. The 76-year-old passed away in the early hours of this morning in a hospital in KwaZulu-Natal following a short illness. Shange was known for her roles in popular TV shows of yesteryear like Deliwe, Shaka Zulu, as well as several others. Dimakatso Leshoro takes a look.
The entertainment trailblazer rose to prominence in the 70s when she was crowned Miss Africa South, becoming the first woman to represent South Africa at a Miss World pageant in London, a historic achievement during the era of apartheid, where she came in at 5th place. Shange went on to feature in TV dramas, showing her acting prowess in a variety of shows like Udeliwe, Shaka Zulu, as well as Mubango. Shange has been honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award from the SAFTAs, as well as the prestigious Simon Mabunu TV and Film Awards in recognition of her contribution to her craft. Details of her memorial service and funeral are yet to be announced. Shange is survived by her 2 daughters and sons. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
And authorities have issued a tsunami warning after a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck northern Japan this morning. The quake was said to be strong enough to shake buildings as far away as Tokyo. Officials have urged residents in coastal and riverside areas to evacuate immediately to higher ground. A crisis management team has been set up by the Prime Minister's office. Japan, located along the seismically active Pacific Ring of Fire, experiences frequent earthquakes. Gold is trading at $4,795.17 an ounce. The rand is at 16.35 to the dollar, 22.11 to the pound, 19.24 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $95.28 a barrel.
We're still dealing with that accident scene in Midrand on the N1 North before New Road, slowing down traffic right from Allendale Road. And in Germiston, there are roadworks on the N3 North between the Haldenes interchange, that is, and Finburen Road, slowing down traffic there. The M2 East is also backed towards the turn-off as a result of those roadworks.
In your sport, Pep Guardiola hails his Manchester City side after they deliver a blow to Arsenal's Premier League title hopes. Mamelodi Sundowns eye redemption as CAF Champions League final beckons. And John Rahm claims 6-shot victory at Mexico Live Golf event.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 25 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Ekurhuleni City Manager Kagiso Lerotla is making his first appearance in the Boksburg Magistrates Court alongside suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 8 minutes past 3 on Monday, the 20th of April. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope the first day of a new week has gone as well as it can. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. Road rage in Johannesburg has claimed a life and devastated many more. We'll look more closely at this scourge after 4 with expert Dr. Nicola Taylor. Also in the news, at the Madlanga Commission, suspended Tshwane CFO Gareth Mnisi is facing close questioning from the commissioners.
Chair, this is the contents of a text. In a text, you don't really formalize discussions. Some instances, it could come across as informal when you mean something. In this case, I clearly meant this is the final list.
Hours. I'm asking about hours. What does it mean when you say hours?
It meant this is the final list, Chair.
But hours refers to me and you.
True.
Yes, so that's what I'm asking. When you say hours, what do you mean here?
Okay.
A list is a separate issue. But you and me, hours, what do you mean when you say?
Yeah, it's been very, very interesting stuff still going on. Tabiso Goba, our EWN colleague, will analyse the day after 5. Plenty to talk about there. Are South African vehicles subjected to less stringent safety tests when they're new than in some other countries? More on that at 10 to 4 with AACO Bobby Ramachwede. Does the ongoing conflict and uncertainty in the Middle East create significant tourism opportunities for South Africa? We'll explore that with Chifiwa Chivengwa from the Tourism Council at 10 to 5. And at the end of the show, we always play some music. We usually pick a theme, and often we ask you about music you might play on special occasions. Well, what would be your song for this particular occasion?
Ladies and gentlemen, pilots turn on the fasten seatbelt sign. Please return to your seats with your seatbelts fastened.
Yeah, music for times of turbulence. It is a thing, actually. We'll ask you to share at least some of your playlist on that with us at 5:45. On the markets, the renewed deadlock in the Strait of Hormuz has pushed the JSE downwards again after Friday's late afternoon lift. The oil shares down by 1,090 points, with resource stocks hit the hardest. Platinum price falling by more than 3%, so not surprisingly. Implat's down by 4.5%. Sibanye has lost 3.3%. Gold price has also dipped by 0.5%. Harmony has lost 3.2%. Almost directly as a result of that. Better news for Sasol, up by nearly 6%, and Tungela, which is up by 4.3. British American Tobacco trading 2.3% higher. The rand, 16 rand 34 against the dollar. Euro will cost you 19 rand 23, and 22 rand and 8 cents will get you a pound. You'd have thought with that Sasol price spike that oil is up, but in fact it isn't. Brent crude is trading slightly down, still right up there though at $94.85 a barrel. Stephen Critis joining us with all the market news at 4:25. We'll get sport with Tolakele Mganga, and Bali Dlamini, as you heard, has the latest news headlines, and in Nkosi Corner, Malinga Mnisi is keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live, and if it's happening in 702 land, you will hear about it here first. But we do always look to you for your help. If there's a story breaking, an angle on a story we missed, or anything that we just absolutely ought to know about to make sense of the world we live in, contact us please on 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702. 702 Drive, it's 12 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
As I said, we'll cover all the big stories, but we'll talk about all those little things in life that make life interesting and sometimes a little bit quirky. Now, over the weekend, I don't know if this happens to you, but I invariably have a bit more time on my hands and I look around particular spaces in the place where I live, in particular at my study, and I think, oh, got to clear this, got to get rid of that, and there are all sorts of things that really do need either sorting, but really what they need is simply to be chucked away. And there's stuff I simply cannot bring myself to get rid of. And it's a rich mix. I'll describe some of it perhaps a little bit later. But what are those things? Rifue Letso, good afternoon to you. Hope you had a good weekend doing the show this week, as you always do with Jonathan Fairbairn. What are the things you just absolutely cannot throw away?
Good afternoon, John, and to the rest of our 702 family. So I've got 3 things that I think I need to create a support group for this. So it's boxes, it's gift bags, it's pens that don't work. So I hope that one day they will work.
Pens that don't work.
Yes.
I was with you on gift bags. Boxes are useful. Pens that don't work.
Yeah, in my mind, John.
I'm struggling.
Maybe I should explain it further.
Please.
In my mind, I feel like, so I put the pens that don't work with the ones that work. And I feel like the ones that work will motivate the ones that don't work to say, hey, buddy, you can do it. Even with highlighters, I always think, I know you dried out, you're tired, but there's one more push in you. And it's never made sense to me. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it sounds even worse, but I think I may need help in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, my advice, well, let's get some help.
It's your
with
face
help.
that's saying stuff, but we can move on.
Nkosi Corner, help us here, please.
I really struggle, and I think I must just put out a disclaimer. I'm not a hoarder, but I really struggle throwing anything away. But my rule is to keep it in order. So have it in a specific way, put it away in a box, store it away. At my mom's house, the Wendy house, I can tell you with certainty I've still got things from primary, but they are neatly packed away because I just have a feeling that somewhere down the line of life I'll have to tell a story and want to pull out something, a book from primary, and show my children if I'm going to have like my handwriting or something, or the day I got my
what's wrong with
license.
that? No, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So you're an order hoarder.
100%.
Okay.
I have something to say about this. As you were talking, 2 words popped up in my head: garage sale. Okay. You don't need to be doing all that stuff. I know there's a story in John saying, there's those, I'm saying, make room for other things.
All right, fair enough. But it's not everything that I keep entirely. I mean, for example, I definitely want to show my children the day I got my cursive license, for example.
Very good.
And that's contained in my books from primary.
Fair.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like... So if I was you, I would say I'm curating. Even if it's not true, but it does sound
like
better.
You are encouraging,
and I'm hoarding
John.
in an orderly way. I'm encouraging you. I think that thing of showing other people, whoever they might be in your future, your handwriting, and also a lovely little memory for yourself. So what do you struggle to throw away? And are you maybe not struggling at all? You're just saying, nah, I'm keeping this stuff. You may want to comment on the keeping habits of other people, of course, because that's where this does get more tricky. Give us a call on 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. Coming up in a moment, we're down in the Eastern Cape, Lusikisiki in particular, you may remember, a terrible mass murder. A while back, it's taken a while for the trial to really get underway with any kind of steam, but that's what's happening now. We hope down in Lusikisiki, Nkosi Corner, I beg your pardon, Nhlanhla Mabaso will be joining us with that shortly.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Right, let's get the very latest news from the roads now. Nkosi Corner going to catch us up on what's happening there.
Thanks, John. Let's begin once again in Midrand, where we're still dealing with that accident scene. It's on the N1 North before New Road, and it's slowing down traffic from Allendale Road. If you happen to be using that route, please just let us know if there's been any update. In Germiston, there's those roadworks on the N3 North between the Haldenes Interchange and Van Buren Road, slowing down traffic. The M2 East is also backed up towards the turnoff as a result of those roadworks. A number of traffic lights are still out in four-ways at Winnie Mandela Drive and Monte Casino, in Midrand at Old Pretoria and Olifantsfontein as well, by the N1 South, that is still in Midrand, and in North Riding at Malibongwe and Mahogany. And moving to Houghton, we've got traffic lights that are out at Houghton Drive and Joe Slover Drive. We're told that the pointsmen are on GT at those intersections that I've just mentioned. In Sandton, just by our studios, we've got traffic lights that are out at Fredman Drive and Rivonia Road. And moving to the capital, we've got traffic lights that are out in Centurion at Old Johannesburg and Brakfontein, as well as in Monument Park at the R21 and Solomon Mahlangu Drive. Pointsmen, we understand, are on duty there. If we've missed anything, please do feel free to let us know by sending us your latest traffic update on X. We're at EWN Traffic, or WhatsApp us on 0772 702 1702.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Kauta Mashiko, women who are given treatment, medical procedures without their consent, a vaginal exam, and even sterilization, and they don't know. I mean, I can't imagine that.
The report also highlights that a large number of women did not know that they needed to consent for certain procedures to take place. A lot of women thought that it was a thing that would just happen based on the doctor's advice and guidance.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9
on 702.
Morning, sir.
Hey, got up the shop.
Topping up.
Yeah. Hey, remember when our coffee didn't taste this good?
Hey, and when the Wi-Fi dropped 3 times a day?
Yo, my
good
man.
times.
Now we've leveled up. High-speed Wi-Fi, private spaces, on-site support. This place runs like a machine.
Yo, flipping seamless.
Yeah, that's WeWork, eh?
And my team's like loving it, eh? Productivity's up. No one's fighting over the fridge.
Yeah, I know. It's the dream.
WeWork, Africa's largest co-working spaces. WeWork.co.za. Made for work, built for business.
Baba Black Sheep. Have you any wool? Yes, sir, yes, sir. More than 3 bags full. We think beyond today, tomorrow, more. Look up, look far ahead. May choose to leave the herd. There's greener grass where fewer care to tread. Baba Black Sheep. Proof of what we do. Better for clients for over 20 years. Courage, we hold the course for you. Baba Black Sheep. If you want more wool, it takes black sheep thinking. Camissa Asset Management. Invest different. Camissa Asset Management is a licensed FSP.
That's Fani before he got naked. Fani's insurance premium went up for no reason, irritating him more than when the boys ignored the really funny meme he posted in the group chat.
What?
So Fani got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance and a way lower premium in seconds on the Naked app. Go Fani. Get a car and home insurance quote now at naked.insure and see how much you can save when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
20 minutes past 3. Let's get down now to the Eastern Cape. Many of you will remember with some degree of chill, I would think, that the day back in September 28, this is in the year 2024, a horrific massacre of people in the area of Lusikisiki. 18 people killed, and 5 others were injured. Family had gathered for a family event. Gunmen opening fire on the lawn of 2 houses, and 17 people, as I said, killed, 6 others hospitalized. The matter is now back in court, but as always, there are all kinds of issues arising that are not necessarily about the actual incident itself. So let's catch up and find out what's happening today, but also fill in some areas of background I haven't given you. EWN reporter Nhlanhla Mabaso is at the court. Nhlanhla, very good afternoon to you. First of all, how many people are appearing and what's come up in the court so far today? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Well, there's 6 of them. You'd recall that when they were arrested, there was a total of 8. 2 of them then turned state witness. You'd recall that Lwando Abi gave testimony, in fact, implicating all of the accused in the matter, pretty much saying, giving the details to court about the plan that it was. He says he was the getaway driver on the night of the deadly shooting. He says the instruction came from the alleged mastermind, accused one Mzogisi Ndamase, who you'd recall at the time was serving a murder sentence at the Mthatha Correctional Services, but was issuing these instructions via a cell phone. Now, while it's 18 people killed in Lusikisiki, there's an additional murder charge that is linked to accused 2, 3, and 4. These ones, you'd recall that in the testimony by Lwando Abi was that they were actually sent to kill a politician, which initially he says accused one had sent him, but he denied. He does tell the court that he met accused one at Mthatha. He was arrested for murder as well, but it was later found out that it was a self-defense and was issued. But he took these instructions for accused number 1 to drive these particular suspects. But where we are now with the matter, John, it's a trial within a trial, really.
Right.
Accused 5 and 6 have admitted, have placed their plea to say, well, whatever we gave police when we arrested, this is it. We were part of the commission of the offense on the instructions of accused number 1. They then, in fact, say that after the 18 people were killed in Lusikisiki, they were actually meant to go to a place called Ekobeni to kill a group of 8 other suspects, but it was accused 5 who then told, it was Lwando Abi rather, the state witness, who then told accused 1 that, look, we are still being hunted by police. We can't be seen being this careless. We'll come back to that later. But now, 3 of the accused, which is accused 2, Apiwe Ndende, accused 3, Siposo Mayekete, and accused 4, Bongayinza, are basically saying that the admissions which police have, or the statements, they are saying that they were coerced and had them under duress. They say they were beaten and they were forced to make those statements, which then brought about this trial within a trial. 2 of them had just completed the testimony within the trial. We will tomorrow, John, hear from accused 4 as to what he says about police, but these other 2 says they were forced and beaten up to make those statements, John.
Nhlanhla, I want to go back a little bit in this matter and ask you this. I mean, do we know anything more about the motives behind these killings? Because there appears to be a connection to other murders that were planned for but didn't actually take place. And the scale of all of this is something quite hard to fathom. How much has emerged either before the matter came to court or during proceedings that shed some light on what was going on?
That's for all we know, John, but a family feud.
Okay, just a little problem with the line there. What we're going to do is just see if we can sort Nhlanhla's line out, because that for me is a very, very crucial aspect. I think the last thing I heard him say was family feud, but beyond that, I don't think we've got as much detail as we would like. Let's see if we can fix the line.
Outsurance business insurance, the cost was far less. I even have better benefits.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you get 24/7 access to panic assistance, roadside assistance, and even office assistance for guest houses, catering companies, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
In the world of finance, manufacturing, and mining, automating business processes is a crucial factor in stimulating an organization's growth and bottom line. Zoe Projects and Consulting, a specialized process engineering and automation firm, offers comprehensive data and business systems analysis to optimize your company's processes, to save time, reduce costs, and better efficiency. Go to zoeprojects.co.za and get in touch with Zoe Projects and Consulting today.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Still to come on 702 Drive, we're going to be taking a closer look at the opportunities, if indeed they exist, for South Africa as the Middle East conflict makes it difficult for places like Dubai and others to host conferences and host tourists the way they would ordinarily do. Chifiwa Chivengwa is CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa, my guest at 10 to 4. Perhaps you'd planned trips to those parts of the world, or maybe we're going to attend a conference, convention of some kind, or even a sports event. Give us a call if, in fact, you've been affected in that way, and that'll help set up the conversation with Mr. Chibengwa, which we'll have, as I said, at about 10 to 4. Let's get back to Nhlanhla Mabaso. Nhlanhla, I asked you about motive. You were starting to talk about family feuds, and then we lost you.
Well, indeed, John, do you have me now?
Yes, indeed. Perfect.
Yeah, thus far we've learned in court, John, that family feud cannot be ruled out. According to testimony given by Lwando Abi, was that part of the reason why there was this family feud, and these people, some of them are in fact were neighbors of accused number one. So there were allegations that his mother, when she passed some years back, had some sort of a disagreement with neighbors, and that stayed with her. And according to Lwando Abina, who was the state witness, was that this was some sort of a vengeance to that family who had accused number one's mom, really. But there's also another angle, John, of drugs that the key state witness told the court that there was also an issue about the selling of drugs that were stolen. But all we do know that there was family feud. He confirmed it in court. He confirmed the issue of selling of drugs that were allegedly stolen. And these drugs, John, were allegedly sold on the instructions again of accused one, who was in prison, everything being run by a smart cell phone, which was then taken by the police when this arrest was made, because he was arrested while in prison for this particular murder case. But this trial within a trial, John, has now brought a bit of slight delays because things have now been put to a halt in as far as the initial case is concerned. But we do know that tomorrow they'll be wrapping the trial within a trial, where now this accused for Bongayinza will take to the stand to tell the court as to what really happened with the alleged assault by police officers, which then will lead us back into the initial trial, where the state will call more state witnesses. Thus far, John, crime aspects, ballistic aspects, crime scene aspects have taken to the stand. Investigating officers, about over 16 of them have testified. We're yet to hear testimony from other witnesses, including another key state witness who had turned a 204 witness, John.
Thank you so much. Nhlanhla Mabaso, just keeping an eye on all of that. Very, very important case. It's amazing. I mean, that Lusikisiki massacre, very fresh in my mind and memory, but it was September 2024. It really does take a long time for the court proceedings to get underway. We'll follow the story with interest, and Nhlanhla's still there in the Eastern Cape. Anything changes, he'll update us in the very latest news bulletins. In fact, we're having one right now. Right, details, please. Let's hear from Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The state in the case against two senior Ekurhuleni officials is opposing their release on bail, but says it will provide reasons for its refusal at the next court appearance. Ekurhuleni City Manager Kagiso Lerotla and suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi made their first appearance in the Boksburg Magistrates Court today. It is alleged that Mkhwanazi colluded to assist Lerotla in unlawfully sending someone to pose as him in court following a 2019 speeding arrest. The state argues that this amounted to fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice. Lerotla's lawyer, Zweli Zagwe, has slammed the NPA for enrolling the matter without having its facts correct.
And that implies or presupposes that at the time when that warrant of arrest was applied for, the state was in possession of all material facts pertaining to our client. A bail application is inherently urgent by nature, Your Worship. The case law is clear. The Starter Magistrate case is very clear on this point.
The trial within a trial in the Lusikisiki mass murder case linked to the killing of 18 people in the Eastern Cape is now nearing its end as proceedings adjourn for a final witness. Accused number 4, Bonga Hintsa, will take to the witness stand tomorrow to testify about the alleged assault by police in the case. 3 of the 6 men accused in the high-profile case have made claims of police using force to compel them to pen down their statements admitting to the mass murder in Ngobozana village back in September 2024. Nhlanhla Mabaso is in Lusikisiki.
The trial within a trial in this case has brought slight delays on the actual trial. The court has spent weeks now trying to determine if the accused Apiwe Ndende, Siphoso Xolomayekete and Bonga Hintsa were indeed beaten by police. Those claims have come short after accused 5 Songezovuma and accused 6 Mawethu Nomdlembu submitted their admissions of their involvement in the commission of the crime. The pair is pointing to accused 1, Mzuki Zindamase, as the mastermind behind the hit. Implicated officers have denied this, saying none of the accused had bruises or scars to prove their allegations. The matter has been adjourned to tomorrow to allow lawyers for accused 4 to consult with his client ahead of his testimony. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
The DA in Gauteng has accused the Department of Agriculture in the province of a slow rollout of foot and mouth disease vaccines. It says while nearly 300,000 vaccines have been allocated to the province, only 133,000 have been administered. This comes as government faces intense criticism for its handling of the outbreak. The DA says more livestock are at risk of being infected and euthanized if they do not receive vaccination urgently. Dimakatso Lishoro has more.
Foot and mouth disease has wreaked havoc across provinces, with national government now facing court action over its refusal to allow private vaccination by farmers. Just last week, DA Minister responsible for the Department of Agriculture, John Perlman, published a draft vaccination scheme for public comments after he was compelled by the Pretoria High Court. The scheme gives farmers what they want, to be able to procure vaccines and vaccinate animals without waiting for government, but abiding by strict regulations. The DA in Gauteng says of the nearly 300,000 vaccines given to the province, more than 150,000 are unaccounted for. It says it intends implementing a live dashboard to update farmers and the public on the rollout. Meanwhile, the DA Steenhuisen is due in court in the coming days to give an update on compliance with the Pretoria High Court order. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
And in the UK, Greenpeace activists have staged a protest at US President Donald Trump's golf course in Scotland. The protest comes at just days after Trump criticised the UK energy policy, calling for more drilling in the North Sea. He also expressed his dislike for wind turbines and support for oil and gas energy. Greenpeace says 65% of the Scots don't support Trump's call and instead support renewable energy. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 25 and 26 degrees.
Leaving Edenvale, anticipate delays on the N12 East between Edenvale Road and Craft Road due to a major accident. While heading towards Lindborough Park, there's an accident on the N3 South before Marlborough Drive, causing heavy delays.
The top story in EWN, the state in the case against 2 senior Ekurhuleni officials is opposing their release on bail, but says it will provide reasons for its refusal at the next court appearance.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
The Midday Report at its heart is a current affairs show, but it really is a show about everything you need to know about and everything you didn't know you needed to know about. A listener is sharp, plugged in, curious, has developed opinions, but is still open to learning new things. My favorite part is how witty, sharp, and funny our listener is. What we cover every day is breaking news, current affairs, politics, the courts, global developments, science, education, popular culture, sports, books, and of course, good things too. I like to think of it as a lunchbox with a little bit of everything. What I love about 702 Land is that it is full of energy. There's always something happening, a developing story to follow. But it's not parochial. The 702 family cares about what is happening in the world around them and how we plug into that.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Weekdays from 12 to 1 p.m.
Want direct insight into Koeberg Nuclear Power Station or wastewater management? Inlet Africa's site visits are for you. Engineers, register now for your free expo pass at inletafrica.com. That's Inlet Africa from 19 to 21 May at the Cape Town International Convention Centre.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
How's that? I dedicate this song to my bro, Rody. You never ask questions, okay? You just took me in, but you may be a 1999 occasional chair to everyone else, Broadster, but you make me feel like $1 million, not Zim dollars. The song's called We Belong Together.
Warning, you may love everything at DecoFern with incredible deals right now on the best value furniture. Exclusive to your local DecoFern or decofurnsa.co.za. 702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John and the team and everyone else. X here. I struggle to throw away the acha containers or garlic containers that you get at Food Lovers. So I've got a whole stack of them now, and the ones you get at Food Lovers are nicely decorated and nicely shaped and whatnot. So I struggle to throw those away, but yeah.
Okay. Those little containers, I mean, I don't know the specific ones. They kind of come in handy. I do sometimes wonder, though, do they breed if you don't use them for a while? Because they seem to grow in number, and you can't quite figure it out because I haven't been to that particular place for absolute ages. Anyway, keep those coming, please. Not the containers, of course, but your stories about what it is that you struggle to throw away. And does this bring you into conflict with the people with whom you live? Call me on that. 072 7021 702 011 883 0702 21 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kelly, very good afternoon to you. Really interesting weekend of sport. English Premier League, big swing there, as you predicted, I think.
John, how are we feeling?
Not good.
Well, John, we do start with that story because Pep Guardiola has declared that Manchester City are now alive in the Premier League title race. That follows the 2-1 victory over leaders Arsenal. Erling Haaland's second half strike won the game for City, who are now only just 3 points behind the Gunners with a game in hand. On Wednesday, they can go top of the league on goal difference. That's if they beat second from bottom Burnley.
Mentality always have been there, except like season, always have been there. And sometimes win, sometimes there, but the margin in that level is Madrid 3 times in the first half arrived 3 goals. There are many things that sometimes we control, and we were not in our best because I give a lot of credit for the open. Otherwise, we will do it better. But we are alive. We are alive. That is for sure. For the already month, we are there. Everybody is pushing, and now arrives like everybody make contribution.
Mamelodi Sundowns booked their place in the CAF Champions League final for the second successive season following a 2-0 aggregate win over Esperance. The Brazilians are through to a South African record 4th Champions League final and will face AS FAR in the 2-legged clash in May. For Miguel Cardoso, he's held his side's defensive showing in the second leg, especially as they were missing the suspended Grant Gekana.
And in the first match, we were not so good, despite we controlled. But today it was absolutely under control. So the capacity that he has to go on the spaces, which basically annihilated it by dropping in the right moment, taking the space on the back. Also, Rowan was very important on the way he controlled some of the balls that enter in the back and to sweep the space on the back of a defense. But it's not only Damani was okay, Kian was okay. Grant made a hell of a match there in Tunisia.
John Dobson believes individual errors were behind his side's shock 33-24 defeat to Connacht in the United Rugby Championship. The Irish side claimed a bonus point victory after outscoring their host by 5-3. The men from the Cape remain second in the standings, level on points with Leinster.
There's something curious about us today that we felt like we needed to invent to get it out, whether it's a chip on the edge of our 22 or something. We feel like we needed to invent to beat them. When actually the template was meant, we saw them all going. I give them enormous credit for that. Their defence is good. We had the last scrum there. I know it's their ball, so you're unlikely to get it over. But Ollie Kebbel and Netling for sure, probably two, and Andre Hugo-Fender and the great back five, and we didn't move them a centimetre. And in a scrum, we needed to win to get 2 points. We couldn't do that, so they did well.
And John Rahm clinched the Live Golf Mexico City title on Sunday following a 6-stroke victory with a 7-under par 64 in the final round as he secured his second win of the season. Bryson DeChambeau had won the previous 2 events but withdrew before the 4th round because of a wrist injury. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 18 minutes to 4, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Plumlink, your local plumbing store. Visit plumlink.co.za to find your nearest store. In Corsi Corner with the latest.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Let's begin in Edenvale. You may have heard of that major accident there. As you leave Edenvale, you can anticipate some delays on the N12 East between Edenvale Road and Craft Road. While heading towards Lindborough Park, there's an accident on the N3 South before Marlborough Drive causing heavy delays. We are still dealing with that accident scene as well in Midrand on the N1 North before New Road, slowing down traffic right from Allendale Road. And in Germiston, there are still those roadworks on the N3 North between the Holderness Interchange and Van Buren Road, slowing down traffic. The M2 East is also backed towards the turnoff as a result of those roadworks. A number of traffic lights that are still out in 4 ways at Winnie Mandela Drive and Monte Casino, in Midrand at Old Pretoria Road and Olifantsfontein, in North Riding at Malibongo and Mahogany. Pointsmen are on duty. They're also on duty in Houghton at Houghton Drive and Joe Slovo Drive, where there are traffic lights that are out there. In the capital, in Centurion at Old Johannesburg and Brakfontein, and in Monument Park at the R21 and Solomon Matlango Drive. We're also told that the pointsmen are on duty. If there's anything else that we need to be aware of, please do feel free to let us know by sending us your latest traffic update on X at EWN Traffic or WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
If it's plumbing, you'll find it at Plumlink, South Africa's largest plumbing retailer. From pipes, fittings, geysers and baths, to basins, taps, tools and accessories, we've got it all. With more than 10,000 quality products at the right price and over 150 stores nationwide, there's always a Plumlink near you, ready to help with expert advice and unbeatable value. Find your nearest branch today at plumlink.coza.
Plumlink, your local plumbing store.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive at 16 minutes to 4. I must just tell you that in Corsi Corner and all our traffic reporters always slip me a note just telling me what are the major things. And you were talking earlier about your handwriting. You've kept all your school books so you can show your children or young nephews or whatever it is your handwriting. He has great handwriting.
Oh, thanks, John.
Really nice.
Oh, thanks,
That's
John.
not your cursive, hey?
No,
That's
not
your
at
block.
all.
Okay, do me the next one in cursive.
All right, cool. It gets better, I must tell you.
I was always in trouble at school for my handwriting, so trust me, I threw all of those books away. Tola Kelly, we were just talking though over the weekend. Sometimes, I don't think I'm just speaking for myself, but I always think, okay, I'm going to use this part of the time here, put some music on, maybe have some sports in the background, clear some clutter. And then I just find myself staring at all the stuff I've been staring at for a while. And breaking news, staring at things does not either sort them or make them go away. But people probably know that. How about you? I mean, is there stuff you hang on to that, you really don't need?
I don't need it, but I like it.
That's a good answer.
I'm someone that keeps letters and cards that people write me.
Okay.
Even from, I had a friend in high school, Khonsi, like once a month she'd write you like the cutest letter to be like, thanks for being my friend. Or I still keep it. And then when I'm having a bad day, I just go there. I'm like, this is who you are. Don't worry about all the other things. It's just a nice reminder of people see you even when you don't see yourself. So I love keeping the cards and the letters. Old pictures. I still have like my primary school photo pictures.
But this is great stuff. I mean, these are not 2-liter ice cream tubs that you think might be useful for storing all those letters, for example.
So the first year I lived alone, I did have that habit because
Yes.
in my head I was like, there's lots of people that will visit me. Then I realized that I actually don't like people visiting me. So if I don't have the tubs, people can't visit.
Yes, but on the other hand, if you're giving away all your nice containers for scuffed tins, then, you know, those 2 liters they come in handy. All right. Hey, one person's junk. But listen, it's interesting both of you have kept stuff and spoken about keeping stuff that is about memory and precious. So I'm thinking more of the stuff that you really don't need. And, you know, you're not going to say to people, hey, well, I mean, you might do it once, but they're not coming back. You say, I want to show you I have this collection of 2-liter Dairy Maid or whatever it is. Nope, they tend not to return. So I don't recommend it. Keep those coming, please, on 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. Still to come on 702 Drive, Professor Nicola Taylor joins us from UJ. She's in the Department of Industrial Psychology and People Management, and something of an expert on road rage, why it happens, how we can perhaps deal with it much, much better than we do at the moment. That's coming up. But if you want to start weighing in on that conversation, please do 072 702 1702, 13 minutes to 4.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Okay, let's welcome to the show now. As I mentioned a moment ago, we're going to be talking about cars and road rage later, but let's talk about cars and safety right now. Very interesting piece in The Citizen written by well-known journalist Brendan Seary, and he conducted an interview with my next guest. Bobby Ramachwede is CEO, I beg your pardon, of the Automobile Association, and he's raising issues about the safety standards applied to new cars in South Africa. It's an important issue. We're delighted he can join us to share his thoughts. Mr. Ramachwede, welcome, and thanks very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
So, I was prompted to get in touch with you from this piece in The Citizen, but it does sound to me, and I hope I've understood it correctly, that you're raising questions about what you see as a divergence, a disparity even between the safety standards applied on new vehicles manufactured here or sold here, perhaps, and the similar framework for standards used in other parts of the world. If I've understood you correctly, spell out your concerns, please.
So, simply put, vehicles that are manufactured for this local market, particularly entry-level vehicles,
right,
tend to be of a lower safety standard than their international counterparts. And by international, I mean European and American. This is largely informed by the fact that the safety standards prescribed by the state are far below the levels prescribed by other countries.
Okay. So give us some examples. I mean, would it be for example, the fact of airbags or not, or the quality of those airbags? Spell it out in some detail, if you will.
Okay, so what we typically look at is the number of airbags, whether the vehicle comes with the electronic stability control, and the structural integrity of the shell.
Mm-hmm.
The state requires that a vehicle can be homologated with only 2 airbags. Yet in Europe, if that car doesn't have at least 4 airbags, including curtain airbags, it will not pass muster. Similarly, electronic stability control, which is known to be second safest to the seatbelt in terms of the number of elements that make a car safe, that is standard in European countries, yet in South Africa, it's not a standard.
Why has South Africa opted for lower standards, and would, for example, a comparison with a country, I don't know where to go with comparisons. Botswana, Brazil, you perhaps pick a benchmark for us. Is this a wider problem, i.e. Europe and the United States stricter, everyone else less so?
So most quote-unquote developed countries are stricter.
Mm-hmm.
With South Africa being the most developed on this continent, I would have expected us to have adopted similar, if not the same, standards that are prescribed in the US, in the UK, similarly in Australia. Countries like Brazil, too, are improving theirs. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, their standards are a few clicks above ours.
Right.
Now, you ask the question, why are South African standards so low? Well, our government isn't particularly concerned about the standards, and they're quite comfortable with the very low benchmark.
I'm sure you've had conversations with motor manufacturers. I'm pretty sure they would be very keen to have a sit down with you. How have the conversations gone? What's come out of that?
So usually these conversations start with the opening line being that we're not committing any crimes, and rightfully so. With very low standards prescribed by the government, motor manufacturers who stick to the minimum prescription can get away with very little.
Right.
Now, I typically appeal to their moral side in encouraging them to build vehicles that are safer before vehicles that are incredibly profitable for them.
In terms of, I mean, presumably the cost issue comes up, whether they frame it as profit or not. But the questions of cost would come up. I mean, is that an argument saying, yeah, well, sure, we'll do the vehicle with 4 airbags, but please can we give them your number when consumers complain about the rising price of cars?
So I usually respond to that, what is the price of a life? Because
Yes.
That's really what this boils down to. When cost is thrown across the table, I often argue that costs in many instances are very de minimis. I'll give you a simple example. The cost of an airbag for VW to install in a Polo Vivo, that pair of curtain airbags, is 2,800 Rand.
Right.
Are we arguing that the life of a South African can be reduced to 2,800 Rand?
How do you see this moving forward? Because you're lobbying, you're gaining the attention. Well, I haven't asked you yet where the government's responded. Let me ask you that first before I ask my next question. What is government saying to you? Presumably you've engaged with them and they're aware of you.
So we are aware of one another. Unfortunately, the wheels of the state turn very slowly, if
Yes.
at all. And that's why we have a 3-pronged lobby approach. One is the consumer, so that they choose better. 2 is the manufacturers, so that they build better. And 3 is the government, so that they regulate better.
So where is government on that? I mean, are they saying your concerns have been noted, please be patient, your call will be answered? Or are they saying we need to sit down and here's the date?
So there's a draft plan that they've been kicking around for the past few years. In fact, it was initially tabled in 2020, then postponed by 2 years. And if my memory serves me right, it's been postponed yet again for another few more years, which is typical government for we're not going to get to this.
We're not going to get to this because we don't want to get to this, or we're not going to get to this because, like many other things, we don't have the capacity, which is a very broad word often used for a variety of both weaknesses and genuine difficulties. I mean, which is it?
I think it's more the willingness as opposed to the ability. If government wants to do something, they've evidenced to us on numerous occasions that they can mobilize their resources and resolve this. Secondly, this is a bill. This is really just a policy that requires a signature, not too much capacity required there.
If something was done, over what kind of timeline would you consider adjustments acceptable? Because would you accept it as fair that the manufacturers of a particular mark of cars would maybe need to retool plant, redo budgets, reconsider marketing and so on? I mean, would a year be fair?
I think a year is far too long. I look at it from the lens of the consumer's protector. Waiting a year, I measure in the number of lives that I could save and the number of injuries I can prevent. So in this case, a day is far too long. As in the case of the government, they're already 6 years late.
Yeah.
Every moment that passes is far too long.
I want to go back, Mr. Ramachwedi, to what you were saying about the different areas of weakness, your reference to airbags, and I think you called them curtain airbags, if I'm not mistaken, both being absent, but also the airbags that are there could be of a better quality. You spoke about the shell of the car. What's the problem there? Is it in the quality of metal used? Is it in the nature of the reinforcements around a basic shell? I know nothing about vehicle engineering, but you could help us there.
Okay, so simply put there, it's really the combination of the two elements that you just mentioned now.
Right.
Sheet metal is pressed and pieced together and sometimes reinforced.
Okay.
And how we come to the conclusion that the safety is inferior is that we pass it through global NCAP safety test, in which it transpires that the shell, i.e. the metal work, could not withstand loads beyond what we have tested. That basically says to you that in a real life scenario, certain parts of the body will crumple a lot more than what would have happened during a simulated test, suggesting that parts of your lower body are also at risk or vulnerable during a crash.
So just to be absolutely clear, I'm just going to use a made-up name for a vehicle, but a Roadster 1.2 that somebody buys in either Brussels or Boston that gets in an accident with the identical forces involved to people who have the same vehicle in Bloemfontein, the person who is the South African driver and owner of that car is more likely will suffer more severe injuries because of that vehicle's ability to withstand force and pressure.
So what tends to happen is that vehicles that are manufactured on assembly lines that are Africa bound tend to have a few bits and pieces and components either skimmed or completely reduced from their build. Similarly, vehicles that are built for the European market, sometimes the Australian market as well, come with a full complement of passive safety features. So coming back to what you said right now, it's obviously not applicable to all manufacturers and all models, but what we're observing is that the vehicle that is Africa bound, including South Africa, tends to be less well built from a structural component, but more importantly, and this is the part we're highlighting, is kitted with fewer passive safety features than its counterpart in, say, Europe or Australia.
And just one final point of clarification, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot of feedback from our listeners, which I'm looking forward to. Does this apply equally to vehicles manufactured in other countries and sent and sold here as it does to vehicles manufactured here, some of which travel are then exported and some of which are sold on the local market? And I ask that because if there's a South African plant that is building cars for a dual purpose, both export and domestic sales, are they doing them differently depending on the target market?
So we have South African plants that have built cars that are consumed locally that we've tested and have failed, quote unquote. We've also tested vehicles that are inbound from foreign assembly lines that have failed locally, but if tested in other markets, same assembly line, different market, happen to do a lot better. What we haven't tested are higher end vehicles built locally specifically for export markets. Chances are those vehicles will comply with the standards of the receiving market.
Right. Boy, there's still a lot of digging to do, but plenty to talk about already. Thank you. Bobby Ramachwede is the CEO of the Automobile Association. Give us your thoughts on what you've heard. 702 Drive.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Kauta, Mashiko, women who are given treatment, medical procedures without their consent, a vaginal exam, and even sterilization, and they don't know. I mean, I can't imagine that.
The report also highlights that a large number of women did not know that they needed to consent for certain procedures to take place. A lot of women thought that it was a thing that would just happen based on the doctor's advice and guidance.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Switching to Outsurance Business Insurance was a quick process. I saved a lot of money.
OUTsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium when you switch? For boutique hotels, catering companies, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to OUTsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is street ahead. Warrior Paints, affordable, lasting, luxury.
Calling all wedding planners and venues, restaurants, conference centers, and hotels. Do you need tables and chairs? Home in One has it all. Do you need cutlery, crockery, table linen, and restaurant equipment? Home in One has it all. Do you need tents, gazebos, or umbrellas? Home in One has it all. Affordable prices, the latest trends, with 2 branches in Pretoria and Johannesburg. Shop online at homein1.co.za because we're your #1 choice. Home in One has it all.
This is EWN.
Mkhwanazi and Lerotla to remain behind bars as their bail application is postponed, and the Gadi family wants Manamela to testify before the Madlanga Commission. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The state in the case against 2 senior Ekurhuleni officials is opposing their release on bail, but says it will provide reasons for its refusal at the next court appearance. Ekurhuleni City Manager Kagiso Lerotla and suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi made their first appearance in the Boksburg Magistrates Court today. It is alleged that Mkhwanazi colluded to assist Lerotla in unlawfully sending someone to pose as him in court following a 2019 speeding arrest. The state argues that this amounted to fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice. Lerotla's lawyer Zweli Zagwe has slammed the NPA for enrolling the matter without having its facts correct.
And that implies or presupposes that at the time when that warrant of arrest was applied for, the state was in possession of all material facts pertaining to our client. A bail application is inherently urgent by nature, Your Worship. The case law is clear. The Starter Magistrate case is very clear on this point.
While the case against the 2 has now been postponed to Thursday for a formal bail application. Let's stay in the courts. Lawyers for disgraced police officer Fani Nkosi have asked the Pretoria North Magistrates Court not to deny him bail as a form of punishment. Nkosi returned to the dock this morning for a continuation of his bail application. The suspended sergeant is facing firearms-related charges from the guns and ammunition that were found at his home during a police raid earlier this month. Nkosi is also accused of tampering with police dockets to frustrate investigations and shield suspected criminals. Judgment on his bail application has been set for Wednesday in court. Nkosi's lawyer, advocate Siza Lali, quoted a judgment previously handed down by Magistrate Thandi Teledi.
You have said in the past that the bail applications, Your Worship, are not made to punish the applicant, Your Worship. What you look at, Your Worship, is whether if the applicant that is before you is released on bail, he will stand his trial.
Lawyers for the family of Hilary Gadi, who was killed in 2022, have requested the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry to urgently summon suspended Mpumalanga Police Commissioner Daphne Manamela. The family wants Manamela to testify under oath following her explosive media briefing on Sunday. During the briefing, Manamela alleged interference, obstruction of justice and misconduct in a murder investigation linked to senior police officers in Mpumalanga. She claims a key suspect in the murder investigation has been blocked by the police. Gadi, who was the daughter of the EFF's Deputy President Godrich Gadi, was shot and killed in 2022. Tshwane's suspended Chief Financial Officer Gareth Mnisi has been taken to task today at the Madlanga Commission for involving his friend in an internal invoice dispute between the municipality and a service provider. WhatsApp chats before the Madlanga Commission show Mnisi regularly interacted about the invoices of service provider Gubi's 85 Solutions. Gubi's had allegedly provided ad hoc security services for the city and had not been paid for over 6 months. Thabiso Koba has more.
It's been alleged at the Madlanga Commission that Gubi's 85 Solutions received preferential treatment from the Tshwane municipality and may have filed invoices for work not done. When the company had a problem with its invoices not being paid, Sergeant Faninkosi took up the responsibility of lobbying senior officials within the municipality on its behalf. One of those officials was Tshwane's CFO, Gareth Mnisi. Co-Commissioner Sandile Khumalo pressed Mnisi on this.
And all of that is appropriate to you, that somebody who's not employed by the city of Tshwane, who is not a representative of Gubis, is participating in all discussions relating to outstanding Gubis payments.
Mnisi says he didn't share confidential information with Nkosi and admitted in hindsight he could have handled the situation better by not involving him. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has condemned the images of an Israeli soldier seen damaging a statue of Jesus. The image, which went viral on social media at the weekend, shows an Israeli soldier vandalizing the statue in southern Lebanon. Taking to his social media accounts, Netanyahu says he was both stunned and saddened by the act and says military authorities are now conducting a criminal probe into the matter. He has also expressed regret for the incident and for any hurt this has caused to believers in Lebanon as well as around the globe. Gold is trading at $4,820.52 an ounce. The rand is at 16.31 to the dollar, 22.08 to the pound, 19.21 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $95.28 a barrel.
In Tshwane, leaving Valhalla, there are heavy traffic volumes on the R101 towards Kwacha Road. Expect about a 20-minute hold-up there. Leaving Edenvale, anticipate delays on the N12 East between Edenvale Road and Craft Road due to a major accident.
In your sport, Pep Guardiola hails his Manchester City side after they deliver a blow to Arsenal's Premier League title hopes. Mamelodi Sundowns eye redemption as CAF Champions League final beckons. And John Rahm claims 6-shot victory at Mexico Live Golf event.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at 23. Pretoria 15 and 24, and Vereeniging 14 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: the state in the case against 2 senior Ekurhuleni officials is opposing their release on bail, but says it will provide reasons for its refusal at their next court appearance.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive. It's 8 minutes past 4, and it's great to have you with us for the last 2 hours of the show. Coming up, a really grim topic to discuss, but it needs talking about: road rage in South Africa. Brought into sharp and tragic focus over the weekend, a suspected road rage incident in the northwest of Joburg, the suburb of Emmarentia. Fatal, shots fired leaving a man dead, his wife critically injured, and extensive trauma for young people who are on the scene of this shooting. What is this all about? We need to understand it better. We need, in our pursuit of understanding, to also see how we can solve this, because it does happen, not every time, with these kind of fatal consequences, but it is a regular feature of life on South Africa's roads. Prof. Nicola Taylor, who's in the Department of Industrial Psychology and People Management at the University of Johannesburg, has looked into this extensively and deeply, and she's joining me on that in about 4 minutes' time. A little bit later in this hour, 10 to 5 to be precise, Chifiwa Chivengwa is the CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa. Some suggestion that as things remain as uncertain and dangerous as they are currently, in the Middle East. All this as a result of the war in and around Iran. There are tourists, but also conference organizers who may be looking for alternative venues. Can South Africa step in and step up and give our own industry something of a boost? We'll explore that, as I said, a little bit later in the show. But Langa Commission of Inquiry still underway. Very, very interesting and important session today as the suspended CFO at the Tshwane Metro. The suspended CEO at the Tshwane Metro, Gareth Mnisi, is currently giving answers and being asked questions. Thabiso Goba watching. He'll give us a summary of the day and his insights into what has come out so far. That's it for 702 Drive, except, of course, for your comments. We asked you about what are the things that you struggled to throw away, but you've got some comments as well, I would think, on some of the big issues of the day. Let's listen.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Oh, what's up, 702 lenders? You guys just spoke about what many people in my life go through, because I won't mention them because they could be listening to this. But hogging, hogging is a problem. People just keep useless stuff with the hopes that they will use them sometime later in their life. Let me tell you a story. My mom bought a blender, right? She bought it before, before COVID. She bought this blender before COVID. It's been there, seated. And now I'm older. You see, I'm asking, hey, can we use the blender since you don't use it? And she's like, no, what will I use when I'm retiring? This is a strong blender, blah, blah, blah. Then we finally encouraged her to use the blender, right? Only for the blender to break the second day she bought it. She started using it, actually. The blender broke the second day she started using it this year. Lesson learned. Use those things, and if you don't have the use for them, throw them away or give them to the next person to use them. Don't hog stuff, especially if your house is small.
Hi, good afternoon, John. This topic of road rage, I've got a very, very first-hand experience where I witnessed a guy in a road rage, jumping out of his car, going to punch the other guy. And luckily enough, the guy didn't fight. But yeah, man, I was with my kids and I said, if this guy was to do that to me, I really don't know what would have happened, eh? Yeah, but I think the movie that came out over the last weekend really opened my eyes. So, yeah, but it's really scary out there, eh?
Hi, John, and the team. John, just check him, man. Where's Karabo Charlie? I miss his voice. I don't hear him anymore on traffic. Is he okay?
Yeah, Karabo Chale is absolutely fine, and you obviously weren't listening on the day when we wished him well on leave that he has earned and banked up after working lots and lots and lots of days and hours here at 702. He's on leave, he's coming back. Rest assured, we're looking forward to his return as well. 13 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, let's catch up with what's happening out on the roads. And Kosikona is keeping a close eye on things. And we've got peak time delays now. N1 getting busy. Whereabouts?
Absolutely, John. And it's the usual delays really on the N1 South between the Buccleuch Interchange and Winnie Mandela Drive. Also heading towards the Johannesburg CBD, expect heavy delays on the M1 South between the Killarney Bends and the Crown Interchange. In Germiston, there are roadworks on the N3 North between the Haldenes Interchange and Van Buren Road, slowing down traffic. The M2 East is also backed towards the turnoff as a result of those roadworks. While heading towards Lindbro Park, there's an accident on the N3 South before Marlborough Drive causing heavy delays. And as you leave Edenvale, anticipate delays on the N12 East between Edenvale Road and Craft Road due to a major accident. You can expect about a 20-minute hold up there from the R24 merge. Traffic lights are out in four ways at Winnie Mandela Drive and Monte Casino. We're told that the pointsmen are on duty. We've also got traffic lights that are out in Sandton at Fredman Drive and Rivonia Road, as well as in Houghton at Houghton Drive and Joe Slovo Drive. Pointsmen also being at that particular intersection. And if you're also leaving Valhalla, there are heavy traffic volumes on the R101 towards Guacha Road. You can expect about a 20-minute hold up there. If we have missed anything, please do feel free to let us know by sending us your latest traffic update on X. We're at EWN Traffic, or WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings.
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Your reaction, Rebecca, to this explanation in her children's names was to safeguard them in case there's an order freezing the assets. Did that come as a shock to you?
Yes, it came as a shock, Clement. So from what I understand, by the way, Minister Tolache has not actually appeared before the Integrity Commission yet. She's appearing before them on Wednesday. This is the letter that she's written, and she seems to have sort of strategically leaked it to various media outlets. I imagine in the hope that South Africans will read it and find it a convincing excuse. It is not a convincing excuse for a number of reasons.
Rebecca Davis, who is a senior journalist with the Daily Maverick.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
That's Kefense, before she got naked. Kefense's premium went up twice last year, and she was more confused than when her ex said, "I need to find myself," and then found somebody else. So Kefense got naked. She got comprehensive car insurance and a way lower premium in seconds on the Naked app. Good for you, Kefense. Get a car and home insurance quote now at naked.insure and see how much you can save when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, 17 minutes past 4. Tragedy in the northwest Joburg suburb of Emmarentia. Now, condolences to everybody involved, and a message, I suppose, of strength to the adults who are going to have to look after children who are at the scene of a shooting that led to one death and another person critically injured. People who are going to have to help those young children deal with the trauma, traumatic scenes that they've witnessed, will have a tough road ahead, and we wish them everything of the possible best on that road. But there it is. It's happened in South Africa before. It will doubtless happen again, not every time with these kind of consequences, but certainly with consequences that are often dire. Professor Nicola Taylor is an associate professor in the Department of Industrial Psychology and People Management at the University of Johannesburg. She's looked at this issue for a number of years and joins us now. Prof, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. It would be, I suppose, probably true, but I'm not sure how useful to simply say, well, in violent countries you get violence in many aspects of life, and the road is no different. But I would think there are specific things about road rage that we should probably try to understand. If I'm correct in saying that, what are the things, the specific things about the rage that manifests itself out on the road that we could better understand and hopefully use in a bid to try and solve something?
Hi, John. Thanks for having me on today. That's an interesting question. So does being in a violent country breed violence? Potentially, because many of the risk factors are there that create that, the ideal circumstances for violence, I suppose. So looking at things like what does the environment itself look like? Is there a lot of danger or threat around that naturally raises people's feelings of threat and fear? What do the demographics look like? And then I think one of the better predictors in road rage in particular
Mhm.
has to do with personality factors. So I want to say yes and no,
Yes.
but because I think the different types of violence, you'd have to look at the specific case as to what was the trigger, what was going on. And in this case, I mean, a really tragic outcome, but there are many factors that sort of come into play that just escalate the aggression, the violence, the anger unnecessarily.
I've heard somebody say, and I can't recall who, that one of the difficulties in South Africa is that we have a whole lot of different philosophies about road use. That some people think that, you need to give way. Other people feel that you need to fight for space. Is there anything in that? And is there any way of harmonizing the assumptions that we make when we turn the key and set off?
Well, look, I think our beliefs do drive our reactions as well. So probably the best way to deal with that is to have a real nationwide campaign on the rules of the road.
Right.
Because if people are not clear on what the rules of the road are, then you are going to be frustrated when people aren't doing what you believe they should be doing. And if your understanding of what road etiquette and the rules of the road is incorrect, then you are going to be frustrated a lot.
Are there countries that have walked this road that we could learn from? I don't know if there, for example, is a country or maybe more than one where the problem was worse at one point, but they did some things that allowed them to say, well, we're not out of the woods, but we at least have a path.
There amount of research in Australia in particular. And interestingly, there's different levels of road rage. So there's the verbal aggression, which I think in research shows about 90% of people engage in that verbal aggression in the car, shouting and calling people names. But only about half would then escalate to vehicle aggression, so
Right.
driving up behind people and flashing the lights and hooting and so on. And then in Australia, interesting recent study looking still at about 27% of people surveyed engaged in physical aggression. So even that's fist fights and being threatening and possibly worse than that. So it's by no means is South Africa the only country where this is a problem. It's still, I think, a globally researched problem. But there are ways in which individuals can manage their response in these kinds of situations, and there are obviously systemic things that we need to correct, like understanding the rules of road and making sure that people comply with them.
Somebody has sent a message. I'll find the exact word, but one of our listeners has spoken on the subject and says your ego is not your amigo. In other words, suggesting that if you are fragile in a particular way, in the way you view the world and yourself and the way the world treats you, perhaps, you need to rein that in, because that's not going to help you out on the road. You mentioned right at the beginning, Prof, personality types are strong determinant. I mean, are there patterns we should understand better? And, maybe people should have personality types and they should be there on their number plates, if indeed they have them, which is a subject for another day.
Maybe that would make it quite interesting. But I think things like emotional stability is probably your biggest predictor of anger and the expression of anger, right? So if you're prone to stress, anger, hostility, potentially your persistent negative thinking, you're more likely to experience more things as a threat to yourself, right? So anger is one of the most deeply encoded aspects that's in our nervous system. It prepares our body to face danger. And the interesting thing about experiencing something like anger is that it doesn't touch your frontal lobe at all before it creates an action, right? So it's designed for you to perceive a threat, to go, right, I'm injecting adrenaline into your body, and I'm going to prepare you to fight or fight, flee, or any of your reactions that you're going to take, and get you ready to face this threat. And that doesn't involve thinking at all, right? It's just an encoded reaction in the body. So people, I suppose the strategies that we need to somehow teach people to do is to, what do you do when you're in that situation where you're being held to ransom by this emotion? What is it that you can do to just take a step back and think more rationally about the situation?
Is all of this exacerbated by a perception that you can't say to yourself, well, that person who came speeding up behind me, at least I know they're going to get caught in a speed trap that I know happens to be set up further down the road. I just use that as a generic example of a perception that you would hope would prevail, but I would think probably doesn't for most people, that let somebody else take care of bad behavior on the road. Is it made much, much worse? Because you mentioned Australia, which I think doesn't have this variable, quite the contrary. They're very, very strict on offences there. We're the opposite, it would seem.
Right. I don't know. I think it comes into the beliefs that you hold, right? So if you believe that somebody driving up behind you is being aggressive towards you personally, you're more likely to take that and maybe react aggressively as well. If you're like, well, this person's probably in a rush, I'll get out the way and, someone else can deal with them speeding.
Yes.
Good luck to you, mate. Then you don't have that angry response. They probably don't even care about you. You're just in the way. So move out and they can get on with your day.
Yeah. Thank you very much. There's lots to think about there. Professor Nicola Taylor, Associate Professor in the Department of Industrial Psychology and People Management at the University of Johannesburg, and someone who's looked closely at the problem of road rage. Rainmoo, that's the way I should say that. Anyway, a message on our WhatsApp line. You can use that too, by the way, 072 702 1702. Thanks for bringing this topic up. Our children are finding it difficult and unsafe to drive on South African roads because of increasing road rage, and it needs to stop. Road rage is unacceptable. Drivers must have valid licenses, understand the rules of the road, and show respect for one another. The problem is there is no, in block capitals, respect on SA roads. People are, block capitals again, not adhering to the rules, but making a point made there, by the way, that younger people are finding it a little bit more threatening, perhaps, and not feeling as safe as older, more experienced drivers might be. Give us your thoughts on road rage. Anything we can do about it, or do we just try and avoid it and avoid its worst consequences? 27 minutes past 4.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
EWN Business.
Stephen, just a quick one before we get into the markets. Road rage, do you lose it sometimes? Have you ever been caught up with somebody who has?
John, yeah, I'm not a nice person on the road sometimes, and it's one of those things where, and I hope I'm not the only person who feels this, sometimes you will say something or make a gesture with your hand, and almost immediately afterwards I regret it.
Yes.
Not just because it's dangerous, but also because it's immature and stupid.
Yes.
But I also know, and I've tried to have this conversation with my kids, the worst part of it is that I'll probably do it again by the end of the week.
Yes.
Just because I get so frustrated. So, yeah, as I say, if you see me do it, know that I regret it, but that's not good enough. You shouldn't do it in the first place. But
We'll take your apology in advance. One remedy, by the way, just off the top of my head quickly before I forget, try to leave early, because I do think a lot of road rage comes from the anxiety of being late. Well, I don't know if you can be late or early in this market, but either way, rage is not going to be your friend, I would have thought. How's it been today?
Yeah, John, so obviously oil prices fell 9% on Friday. They're up by 5% today because, the Strait of Hormuz was going to be open and then it wasn't, partly because of the US blockade and their actions in trying to board that Iranian ship yesterday. Brent now just under $95 a barrel, but that having the impact that you would expect. So US markets have opened down, our markets opened down. Not a lot of other corporate news around. It is relatively quiet from from that sphere. So that having a bit of an impact. That means the JSE All Share down 0.2% at 120,443. Could be worse under the circumstances. Financials down 0.2%. Industrials up 0.42%. Resources down 1.68% on the day. Excuse me. And interesting just to sort of see what's happening in the various companies as a result of this. It's kind of what you would really expect. Harmony are down 4%. Sibanye-Stillwater, they're down 3.68%, despite actually having a capital markets day today and talking about the concessions they want from the EU for the big lithium mining project that they're working on in Finland. They're worried particularly about price volatility and unfair competition. That might not have helped them in the markets today. Gold is down 2%, so DRD Gold's down 3.5%. Implats is down 3%. It's the usual sort of story. Sasol, though, strong day for them, up nearly 6%. British American Tobacco, the defensive stock, up nearly 3%. And Thungela up 2.58%, while Glencore was up 1.24%. Interesting to see MTN up 1.12%. And Bidcall, often seen as a very safe stock on the JSE because it's so diversified. They're up 1% as well. So the kind of classic thing that we see when the oil price goes up like this. Talking of the impact of oil prices, Enoch Godongwana, he's in New York for the big meetings of the IMF and the World Bank. He says that government will try and extend the fuel tax relief for the next 2 months. It'll make a decision at the end of April. But there is a hard deadline. Basically, we get another 2 months of relief, and then that R3 a litre would have to be imposed again. They'll run out of room, essentially. Labat Africa also reporting it expects its revenue to be up by around 150% for the year to the end of May. Headline earnings per share should be up by over 100%, so that's quite a strong increase. In the US, markets opening down, mainly because of higher oil prices. There's a lot of corporate activity, a lot of corporate reporting, which is a very strong reporting. Bear in mind, it's all looking backward. And so that is pushing earnings up. The Dow Jones is down 0.06. The Nasdaq is down 1/3%. The S&P 500 is down 0.14. The gold price at the moment, $4,817.67. Platinum, $2,065.60. Brent crude, $94.13. And the rand to the dollar, 16.34 to the euro, 19.23 to the British pound, 22.10 at the moment. All about oil prices again, John. It feels like I didn't go on holiday. Stephen Critis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Back with us at I was about to say at the same time at 5:25, which is not the same time at all. It's 5:25. Looking forward to that, but not before we have updated you on the very latest news. And Bali Dlamini, good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Social Development Minister Sisisi Tolashe has been asked to explain to the ANC's executive a donation of Chinese vehicles she allegedly gifted to her children instead of passing them on to the party's Women's League, of which she is president. This is a separate request from her explanation to the ANC's Integrity Commission that she was allegedly trying to prevent the cars from being seized at the time when the party was facing financial difficulties. Briefing journalists today, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula said the party is not yet at a point to ask her to step aside. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
Yesterday, the Sunday Times reported that Minister Sisisi Tolashe told the Integrity Commission she was protecting ANC assets when she decided to keep 2 SUVs donated by unknown Chinese officials to the ANC Women's League in 2023 and to register them in the names of her children instead. ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula says the party's executive has not yet received a report from the Commission, but has in the meantime asked Tolashe to explain her actions.
So if a minister break the executive code and the oath of office on matters like this, there's no negotiations. You'll be dropped.
But Mbalula says ultimately this is a matter for the Women's League to deal with.
There might not be a need of investigation based on the report that you get.
In an affidavit to the ANC's Integrity Commission, Tolashe says she did not declare the vehicles to Parliament because they were not hers and they were only in her possession for safeguarding. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Alleged underworld gang boss Nafeez Modak has asked the Western Cape High Court if he can be given a new lawyer. Modak, who faces 122 charges, is on trial, along with 14 others for charges related to allegedly operating a criminal enterprise. 2 defense witnesses have now failed to corroborate Modak's claims of a conspiracy against him by police and his underworld rivals. Carlo Peterson reports.
For the second time in less than a week, presiding Judge Rabatini ruled that evidence presented to the court by Modak's lawyer is inadmissible. Earlier today, Modak's lawyer, Advocate Bashir Sibda, attempted to present new evidence to the court related to his client's claims of police corruption. Sibda later called dismissed police warrant officer Ridwan Titus to corroborate Modak's allegations. Presiding Judge Rabatini ruled that both attempts by Sibda was inadmissible in court. Modak asked Tini if he can have a new lawyer before the matter was adjourned for Sibda to confirm Modak's intentions. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Western Cape High Court.
And Auckland Road near the Kruger National Park has still been closed off to traffic following the collapse of a bridge near the Wits Rural Facility. The bridge was washed away by heavy rains in the area at the weekend. Motorists planning to travel along this route are being urged to use alternative routes as no vehicles can pass through at this stage. Limpopo Transport Department spokesperson Mashudu Mabata says law enforcement and technical teams remain on site.
Motorists are urged to use the following alternative routes until further notice. Traffic from Mpumalanga use the R40 towards Woodspray to bypass the affected section. Traffic from Kruger National Park Open Gate reroute via Palabora to rejoin your intended route. Please plan for additional travel time and possible congestion on these alternative routes.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 14 and 15 degrees and highs of between 23 and 24.
In Jet Park, there is queuing traffic on the R21 South between Griffiths Road and the N12, while in Kempton Park, there's also slow-moving traffic on the R24 East between Barbara Road and Isando Road.
The top story in EWN, Social Development Minister Sisisi Tolashe has been asked to explain to the ANC's executive a donation of Chinese cars she allegedly gifted to her children instead of passing them on to the party's Women's League.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
My show is about getting you informed by the time you get to the office, your place of business, or wherever you need to go. Hopefully you have a fairly good idea what's happening in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and around the world. We want you to be part of those water cooler conversations, and you will be part of those conversations because you'll be a better informed citizen. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is the ecosystem that we have built, the community. It's all about connection because we may be different, but ultimately the people you talk to and the people you hear are facing issues just like you.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
You may or may not know the difference between a timing belt and a timing chain, but you do know a great OUTsurance deal when you see one. Get a car insurance quote now, and if OUTsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash. SMS OUT to 45142. That's OUT to 45142. OUTsurance, licensed insurer and FSP, TCs and information online.
Do you ever call you like to sell? But don't trust your uncle or your pal. Then we buy cars, it's just for you. Buying cars is what we do. We offer service with a smile. We always go the extra mile. Use a place that you trust and sell your car to.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
No one gets fit overnight. It takes discipline, and your money is no different. A Nedbank 32-day notice account helps you build financial strength with up to 7.3% interest and zero maintenance fees. The higher the deposit, the higher the return. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. For more information, go to nedbank.co.za. See money differently. Nedbank, we're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Alexander. Look, this thing of road rage is a problem. It happened to me one day where I know I was wrong. I just turned without indicating. This tough guy come to me, tried to bang my window, tried to open my door. I just opened my door. I went out of my vehicle, pull out my t-shirt as if I'm just stretching myself. He realized that, whoa, this guy's having a gun, but he's not reacting. So I end up apologizing. Really, this is not good. This is not fair. People will die one day. Thanks, John. Milton Baron Alexander. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. John Perlman. Yesterday I went in the pothole. There's a very dangerous pothole by Midway, by Harry Gallon. As you go down, there's a very small pothole, but it's very dangerous. Yesterday I had a puncture there, and when I drive to the garage, I felt like 4 cars, the same issue. Can you please tell them maybe just to close that little thing, because you can't escape it. You can't you can't go through that thing. So it's very dangerous. I'll send you the pictures of that. As you go from the mall, go down by the traffic light, you pass the garage. It's on the left-hand side. Yesterday I had a puncture there, and when I drive down to the garage trying to get help, I find 5 cars, the same thing, standing there. They don't have a spare wheel, they don't have anything, no jack, no nothing. By Harry Gallon in Midrand. I'll send you the pictures now.
Yeah, thanks for that. We've had a look at the pictures and we've reported it to the Joburg Roads Agency, and hopefully we'll get some action there. If it's still there in a day or two, please do let us know, and we'll keep following up on that. 19 minutes to 5.
EWN Sport.
Good weekend for Orlando Pirates. Tola Kele, and a big game coming up this weekend. What's the latest?
Well, John, they warmed up for Sunday Soweto derby with a 3-0 win over AmaZulu, which saw them move to the summit of the Betway Premiership standings. Yanele Mbutuma was among the scorers, bagging his 5th goal of the campaign, as the Buccaneers extended their unbeaten streak in the league to 8 matches. The Ghosts are now 2 points clear of Mamelodi Sundowns, who have 2 games in hand, and Adeslam Adu says all they can do is keep on winning.
We cannot take out all the good things that our team did this season, and we definitely we are going to keep pushing. I like the team spirit of the team. You can see on the pitch how they're fighting. Even sometimes it's not easy, but we keep fighting.
Roberto De Zebri says Tottenham Hotspur can win their remaining 5 Premier League games to avoid relegation. Spurs conceded a 95th minute equaliser to draw 2-2 with Brighton on Saturday, a result that left them without a league win in 2026 and inside the relegation zone. They're 18th, having accumulated 31 points from their 33 games, and could find themselves further adrift if West Ham United beat Crystal Palace tonight.
And believe in the qualities of the players. They played good game. We can play better than today. More quality, more calm, especially when we are in ball possession. We have another 5 games, 50 points, and this team is able to win 5 games in a row. Difficult not to hear my words. But if you watch the players, if analyze the level of the players, I think we can win 5 games in a row.
The Proteas women lead their 5-match T20 series with India 2-0 following an impressive 8-wicket win in the second game on Sunday. Sent into bat, India were all out for 147 as Dumis Kokune and Chloe Triron took 3 wickets each. In response, all-rounder Sunelu top scored with 57 as South Africa reached their victory target with 17 balls remaining.
Yeah, look, I think our bowlers have been phenomenal the last 2 games. I think they've kept their plans very simple. They're very powerful hitters and they have the capability to score 180 plus every game. So I think, our bowlers have just kept to their strengths. I think we've used the slow balls and the conditions very well, and we just backed it up with good batting. I think the bowlers are doing an extremely good job at the moment to just keep the Indian batters quiet.
And West Indies legend Chris Gayle has been announced as the co-owner of a Glasgow-based franchise taking part in the inaugural European T20 Premier League. The ETPL is being run in collaboration with the cricket boards of Ireland, Scotland and the Netherlands, while the tournament is set to take place from the 26th of August until the 20th of September. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's get the very latest from out on the roads. If you are in the Jet Park area and either on or heading for the R21, Nkosi Corner's got some advice. At the very least, he has a warning.
Yes, indeed, John, there is queuing traffic there. It's on the R21 south between Griffiths Road and the N12. In Kempton Park, there's also slow-moving traffic on the R24 east between Barbary Road and Isanda Road. Leaving Edenvale, anticipate delays on the N12 east between Edenvale Road and Craft Road. It's due to that major accident that we have been reporting on this afternoon. If there's any changes there, please do feel free to let us know. You can expect there a 20-minute hold up from the R24 merge. While heading towards Lindborough Park, there's an accident on the N3 South before Marlborough Drive, causing heavy delays. There's also peak time delays on the N1 South between the Buccleuch Interchange and Winnie Mandela Drive. Heading towards the Joburg CBD, expect heavy delays on the M1 South between the Killarney Bends and the Crown Interchange. In Tshwane, we've got traffic lights that are out in Centurion, at Old Johannesburg and Brockfontein, and in Monument Park at the R21 and Solomon Mahlangu Drive. Pointsmen, we're told, are on duty then. Anything else? Feel free to let us know by sending us your latest traffic update. On X, we're at EWN Traffic, or WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive, a lot of you commenting on the road rage issue. Clint says, honestly, there are just way too many inconsiderate, incompetent drivers on the road. You try and keep your cool, but there's just too many that test you in one trip. Do you see the JMPD officers enforcing the actual law? He asks, not just at roadblocks, but making sure there is adherence to rules and regulations. There's more homeless people that are helping at intersections than JMPD, or am I the only one experiencing this? So I think a question that I've got, Tolakele, and I'm just wondering, you don't seem like a big road rage candidate to me, but I'm quite sure that you get irritated and annoyed and frustrated. So I want to ask you, and then ask the listeners as a whole, particularly I would think if you've got kids in the car, which is not necessarily true for you and I, but what techniques do you have to keep your cool, if indeed you've got some that you are using and that you can share?
At the most, if I see you do something weird, I hoot once and then I move on with my life. Because I remember when I was in high school, we had a transport driver that was in a road rage incident with someone, and the driver actually had a gun. And ever since then, I was just like, absolutely not. It's never that serious for me on the roads where I run the risk of losing my life based off someone else just deciding that they want to go faster than me. My key is I keep to the left. And then if you flick your lights and say, get out of the way, I will gladly do it. I will swear at you in the car, but I'm not about to have a confrontation with you when we get to the robots.
Can we just check on the hood? Is it like a pop or is it pop?
No, that one is the dangerous one.
The dangerous
just like
one,
a quick pop and then I'm done.
Yeah, okay. And people may think, oh, another taxi driver looking for a fare. So, but anyway, that's more to get it out of your system,
yes,
than with any delusion that the person you've just popped to is going to change their ways.
Most, I'm hoping they're so embarrassed by the fact that they've been called out that they correct their behavior. It never happens.
Yes. Okay. How about you in Nkosi Corner, Mr. Traffic? How do you deal?
I'm a suitable candidate. I really can't. I just cannot. But
suitable candidate for what? You get cross.
I get really upset. But I think with me, I always remind myself that it's just not worth it.
Yes.
And how quickly things can escalate. I mean, case in point, the incident, that horrific incident in Emiransha. There's reports that it was in fact the lady who's now critically injured that first pointed a firearm. And, my biggest question becomes, in front of the kids in the first place, that's number one. And underestimating, again, how quickly things can go south. Yes. But I also think as a country, we are really lacking where we speak of tolerance and conflict resolution. Because for us, it's zapping, the middle finger, it's rolling down the window, and it's almost like second nature to just go to that, as opposed to saying, hang on a minute, let me pause and reflect, because this is not worth it and I'm wanting to get home.
Yeah. It's such an interesting thing that Stephen Curtis said, because he said as soon as he does something, he feels bad about it, and I think there's almost like a little toxin that releases in your system when you do get that furious. That even if the other person doesn't know or react, it really does affect you, particularly over a period of time. Your tips for keeping it cool on the roads, give us those, please. We need them on 072 702 1702. It's 11 minutes to 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Let's focus our attention now on this. The situation in the Gulf in the Middle East remains very, very uncertain and unstable indeed. And in fact, there was a suggestion made in an article or remarks made by a business leader. Let me just double check and give her a correct title. Busi Mavuso, CEO of Business Leadership South Africa, is saying there's a real chance that South Africa could benefit. Conferences, she says, are being cancelled. Tourists are looking for alternatives. Expatriate workers are being evacuated. Points out that we are in the same time zone and we have plenty of infrastructure in Cape Town and Johannesburg. Now, this isn't something you can immediately switch on. It's not a case of restaurants close, but hey, we're just 2 blocks down. Why don't you come and have a meal with us? Nevertheless, there may well be a chance to divert some of that revenue and some of those people to South Africa and hopefully win some lifelong travel friends as a result. Realistic opportunity or just something a little far out there? Chifiwe Chivengwa is the CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa, and he joins us now on 702 Drive. Mr. Chivengwa, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. Is there any kind of movement or move out there as a result of turbulence in that part of the world that might bring any kind of business to our part of the world? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to your listeners. The situation in the Middle East, it's taking a toll, in that region.
Right.
And of course, there are events that were planned to be held in that particular region. And we have indeed seen that from the eventing or the alternative destination point of view, we are up there in terms of the destination of choice. When people look at where else they could have their conference. And I was talking to the experts on the ground, and we have seen 1 or 2 conferences that have moved, shifted from, the likes of Dubai to Cape Town. So that will happen. But the most important thing is that we need to build on that and build a long-lasting strategy that will attract more and more events into our destination. But the situation as it is currently, and the fact that there is no stability, it does drive some of the events our way, and we can only capitalize on that. I know it sounds bad to say, but those that are looking for alternative venues, alternative places to hold their conference, exhibition, and many other things, they are indeed looking elsewhere, and South Africa is one of those destinations that we are being looked at.
I would assume the timelines of this are, a conference that was maybe scheduled for late April or even May is probably being postponed or even cancelled. Are we looking at events that people are taking a bet on future uncertainty? So we're looking more September, October, or even deeper than that?
Well, it's slightly deeper than that. There are immediate events that have been cancelled, that those are looking for alternative destination. And the fact that the situation is not stable and not guaranteed into the future, those that are event planners are looking at alternative destination, even down the line throughout the year. We will see a lot more events that were supposed to be held or that were going to be held in those destination going elsewhere, including ASEAN, South Africa. Let me put perspective. If you look at that region, you look at the likes of Saudi Arabia, Dubai, or the UAE in general, they have been actively bidding for large events. And those events have been going there because they are in the middle and they are able they have airlift in terms of airlines that can, ferry people from all over the world to either Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Dubai. So huge hub. So they have been actively getting big conferences. And with what's happening now, those conferences are looking elsewhere. And we may be able to have few conferences that come our way, but of course we need to bid and we need to make sure that we strengthen our hand when we do that in the next year or two. But what we need to also keep in mind is the fact that, one, if the conflict continues, we have airlines, Emirates, Qatar, those that are in the Saudi Arabia region. It means that they are unable to fly, to South Africa in a way that they were flying to South Africa, meaning that hub and spoke model that we have, Dubai being a hub and then coming down to South Africa, and that region could bring up to 5,000 seats into our country. So if those airlines are not operational, then we need to get direct routes reactivated so that we can get people coming to the country. So that's the downside. Another downside is that the issue of fuel price becomes a downside because flying becomes very expensive. So we've got to look at it from both angles.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about the airline question. I mean, what consequences are we already experiencing? Let's take the 2 points you made in sequence. The one is obviously the ability to fly in and out of the major hubs like Dubai, for example, and Abu Dhabi. Are we already seeing that people are cancelling trips to, say, a planned landing in Cape Town or Joburg? Or are people just, postponing and say, well, we'll come when it's all quieter?
What we are seeing, and we had a meeting about this today, and various companies, and some of them are global, presented to us. What we are seeing is that as a destination, we remain a very desirable destination. So people are still finding an alternative way to getting, to South Africa, whether it's Cape Town, whether it's Joburg or elsewhere. They are finding alternative ways. The thing is that those alternative ways are not as cost effective as, when the situation is normal. Right. So we do get people still coming into our destination, but as time goes, we may get to a point where we need to talk to as many airlines as possible to increase their frequencies on the direct routes, or to establish new direct routes so that we can get people coming down to South Africa. So we have not seen massive cancellations, but there are cancellations that have come through. There are, shifting of routes. And that means that it may affect the bottom line because the expenses are going up. So that remains a problem. So that's why I'm saying that in this whole conflict, there is an upside and also there is a downside because of the airlift that we get from the Gulf nations. So we just have to figure out as a country, how do we get more direct routes? How do we reestablish more connectivity into Europe? How do we bolster the connectivity into North America? And how do we get more connectivity into Asia? If we get that right, for the future, it's gonna be good for the industry. It means that we can therefore have this situation de-risked a little bit. And we should be able to get more and more people coming directly into South Africa. But also we need to watch another hub in Africa, which is Addis Ababa with Ethiopian Airlines. That hub is going to be very important in terms of hubbing into South Africa. So we've got to pay attention into that. We've got to work closely with the airline there. We've got to make sure we get as many people as possible. So very important, the hub and spoke model. It provides good connectivity and cost effectiveness sometimes.
Thank you so much, Chifiwe Chipengwa, CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa. Many of you listening out there, I would imagine, work in the travel business or maybe downstream and upstream from people who are, for example, doing air tickets. Maybe you run a shuttle company. But what are you seeing in this regard? If you've got some on-the-ground insight into the broader trends we were just discussing a moment ago with Mr. Chibengwa, please do give us a call and share what you know. 072 702 1702. 3 minutes now to 5.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What has been decided here?
The application was done by IDEC. Then there was a request by IDEC to say we must keep him at Posimampuru for us to be able to do the consultation. He will stay here until the 13th when he will be appearing again.
Kaiser, if you are consulting with him as the prosecuting team, is he a state witness? Has there been some kind of a deal done?
I don't want to go into those details.
Okay. Kaiser Khanyaku.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
The Black Hole Symphony returns to the Linda Auditorium on Thursday and Friday after last year's sold-out season. The Johannesburg Philharmonic joins Universe on stage to present a 32-piece orchestral experience of black holes, 6 movements, each one a unique black hole story from their inception to their role in our ultimate survival as a human species. Universe on Stage is reshaping live entertainment, merging science, music, and storytelling that connects audiences to the wonders of the cosmos. The Black Hole Symphony opens at the Linda Auditorium on Thursday night, and on Saturday, 2 performances, one in the afternoon and one in the evening. For more details and to book tickets, go to Web Tickets and look for the Black Hole Symphony.
Still shopping around for a saving here and a deal there? Choose Checkers, SA's #1 in value supermarket. And save on deals like Dew Fresh Long Life Milk, a 1 litre 6-pack for $94.99. Sunfoil Pure Sunflower Seed Oil, 2 litres for $69.99. And Sanex Shower Gel or Body Wash 500 mils, any 2 for R110. Save R80. Valid until 10 May, only at Checkers.
That's Liesel, before she got naked. Liesel checked her insurance premium and got angrier than the time a teenager called her Tunny. So Liesel got naked and got comprehensive car insurance and a way lower premium in seconds, all on the Naked app. There we go, Liesel. Get a car and home insurance quote now at naked.insure and see how much you can save when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
This is EWN.
Mkhwanazi and Lerotla to remain behind bars as their bail application is delayed, and members of both ANC and SACP must pick an election side. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The fraud and corruption case against 2 senior City of Ekurhuleni officials has been postponed to Thursday for a formal bail application. Suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and City Manager Kagiso Lerotla appeared in the Boksburg Magistrates Court today. According to the state's charge sheet, Mkhwanazi is accused of assisting Lerotla to manipulate a 2019 speeding case, allegedly to prevent Lerotla from appearing in court. The state claims Lerotla sent his driver to appear in court posing as him. They further allege that the driver was later paid by Mkhwanazi. Alpha Ramushwana reports.
In 2019, Ekurhuleni City Manager Kagiso Lerotla was arrested by the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department for speeding. However, the charge sheet alleges that Lerotla was due to attend an interview for the position of Chief Financial Officer on the same day as his court appearance. It is further alleged that Mkhwanazi and Lerotla unlawfully instructed Lerotla's driver to pose as him in court, for which the driver was subsequently paid 400,000 rand. The state says this conduct amounted to fraud, corruption, and defeating the ends of justice. The pair will spend 2 more nights in custody after Magistrate Sipho Manana postponed the matter for a formal bail application.
The gentleman case is remanded until Thursday, 23 April 2026 for formal bail application. You are both in custody, no bail at this stage.
The case is not connected to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News in Boksburg.
Meanwhile, Action SA plans to table a motion calling for the immediate suspension of Ekurhuleni City's manager Kagiso Lerotla. The party's Dumelo Shabalala says the gravity of the charges against him necessitates Lerotla's immediate suspension.
Action SA holds that the gravity of these charges necessitates the immediate suspension of Mr. Lerotla, not only to protect the integrity and public image of the city, but above all, to uphold the principles of good governance.
Let's stay in the courts. Lawyers for disgraced police officer Fani Nkosi have asked the Pretoria North Magistrates Court not to deny him bail as a form of punishment. Nkosi returned to the dock this morning for a continuation of his bail application. The suspended sergeant is facing firearms-related charges from the guns and ammunition that were found at his home during a police raid earlier this month. Nkosi is also accused of tampering with police dockets in order to frustrate investigations and shield suspected criminals. Judgment on his bail application has been set for Wednesday in court. Nkosi's lawyer, Advocate Caesar Dlali, quoted a judgment previously handed down by Magistrate Thandi Teledi.
You have said in the past that the bail applications, Your Worship, are not made to punish the applicant, Your Worship. What you look at, Your Worship, is whether if the applicant that is before you is released on bail, he will stand his trial.
Dual members of the ANC and SACP will be given 10 days from Thursday to indicate who they will campaign for in the upcoming local government elections. While the party has today once again reiterated that no one's membership is in jeopardy, they will have to pick a side for elections. Deputy Secretary General Nomvula Mokonyane says while the ANC has accepted a decision by the SACP to go at it alone for this year's polls, the party's resources cannot be abused in the process. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Fikile Mbalula says there's no intention to hound SACP members out of the ANC and their alliance remains intact. But a failure to indicate which party members will be campaigning for will have consequences.
Communist Party contests power for socialism and it must express that in its campaign. But it cannot isolate the ANC as a target.
Deputy Secretary General Nomvula Mokonyane says the party has to learn from past experience and recent by-elections which the SACP has contested.
Having learned badly from the MKP situation, and we are now determined to ensure that this is done in a manner that protects the resources, the opportunities given on members.
Mokonyane says the ANC respects the SACP's resolution on elections and its subsequent response is not anti the party. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
While in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has condemned the images of an Israeli soldier seen damaging the statue of Jesus. The image, which went viral on social media this weekend, shows an Israeli soldier vandalizing a statue in southern Lebanon. Taking to his social media accounts, Netanyahu says he was both stunned and saddened by the act and says military authorities are now conducting a criminal probe into the matter. He has also expressed regret for the incident and for any hurt this has caused to believers in Lebanon and around the world. Gold is trading at $4,810.78 an ounce. The rand is at 16.36 to the dollar, 22.12 to the pound, 19.26 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $95.28 a barrel.
There's peak time delays on the N1 North between the Buccleuch interchange and Olifantsfontein Road, while in Tembisa roadworks are causing some delays on the R21 North approaching Olifantsfontein Road.
In your sport, Miguel Cardoso hoping third time's a charm in the CAF Champions League final. Mikel Arteta confident that Arsenal can still win the Premier League title. And the Proteas women target T20 series win over India.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at 23. Pretoria 15 and 24 and Vereeniging 14 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the fraud and corruption case against two senior City of Ekurhuleni officials has been postponed to Thursday for a formal bail application.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes past 5 on 7:02 Drive, the final hour of the show. Great to have you with us. If you joined us earlier, thanks for joining us when you did. If you've just joined, welcome. We're delighted to have you with us all the way through until 6 o'clock. We are, of course, going to bring you the news that we have planned to cover, but there's always stuff that breaks. We'll do our level best to bring you those stories as well. But if you hear of something we don't know about, come up with an idea about a story we're already talking about, but perhaps you feel we haven't entirely grasped either in terms of detail or significance, whatever's on your mind, give us a ring on 072 702 1702. Delighted to have you with us wherever you might be in 702 land. Coming up on the show in the next half an hour or so, in a short while, we'll be joined by Thabiso Goba. He is our colleague who's been covering the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry over a number of days, and for the last 2, I think, possibly 3, in fact, suspended CFO at the Tshwane Metro, Gareth Mnisi, continuing to ask questions on a range of things, including his relationship with Sergeant Fani Nkosi, who's currently in court, facing his own difficulties. So Thabiso Goba with us soon. And then an issue of great importance, I think, to really everyone. Treasury has put out new rules regarding BEE, and in particular in the way that it relates to government procurement. Government, of course, spends a huge amount of money every year. The numbers are in the trillions, I think it is. Anyway, I'll give you the exact number of what government actually spends over a year of spending, but changes to the rules that govern that will be very important indeed. We'll talk about that at about 20 minutes past 5. And staying with the themes of money and business, Stephen Krutt is in with the very latest from the markets. That's at 25 past 5. We'll have music for you in the last part of the show, and hopefully, as we always hope, you will have some music for us. Many of you with views on road rage and how we deal with it, sending those through on 072 702 1702. We'd love to get yours. Let's hear what a couple of you had to say.
I think Stephen has nailed it on the head. I will also admit that a lot of the time he'll be furious and you end up regretting that, you could have acted better, It is stupid, just as Stephen is saying. But, one thing about a person is that people can't take their own advices, but they can give the best advice, but they can't take their own advices. So, Stephen, I'm advising you today, stop acting stupid. So whatever that you're experiencing on the road, just take a deep breath. And if you will advise me back, I'll take your advice.
Hi, John. I am one to avoid. I look forward. If I see that I made a mistake, I just say sorry. And if I see that you're still being angry and maybe swearing, I just look forward. I look forward. I don't look on the side. I avoid it at all costs. And my husband likes getting involved in those. One time we were chased by this other car and I was just so terrified. Every time when I'm driving with him, I just say, you know what, mind your business, like there's no need, because some people are really, really angry. What if they shoot us dead? Like so I avoid it at all costs.
John, hi, Zuko speaking. Just wanted to find out, if the petrol price and oil price are increasing, would we not be desirable if accommodation would be affordable, even though, every other item would have gone up? So from a hotel, BNBs and whatever, all of those accommodation perspective, wouldn't it not be advisable or desirable for them to try and keep prices low to attract more tourists into the country? Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a strategy that often gets debated. Keep prices down and more people will come. And by the way, more South Africans might do tourism things. On the other hand, there is perhaps a perception that if, for example, conferences or high-end tourism is taking a knock in the Gulf because of the current state of conflict in that broad region, this is the time and opportunity to get in. I wouldn't call them high rollers, but people who have a fair amount of money to spend. Don't know if you can do both. Maybe you've got an idea on that. Give us a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 13 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Let's get the very latest news now out on the roads from Nkosi Corner. What are we looking at?
Thanks, John. We're looking at some peak time delays on the N1 North between the Butlu interchange and Olifantsfontein Road, while in Tembisa, roadworks are causing some delays. That's on the R21 North approaching Olifantsfontein Road. In Jet Park, there's queuing traffic on the R21 South between Griffiths Road and the N12. And in Kempton Park, there's also slow-moving traffic on the R24 East. That's between Barber Road and Isando Road. Leaving Edenvale, you can still anticipate those delays on the N12 East between Edenvale Road and Craft Road is due to a major accident. Expect about a 20-minute hold up there right from the R24 merge. Some traffic lights that remain out in Midrand at Old Pretoria Road and Olifantsfontein Road. We're told that the pointsmen are on duty. And in the capital in Centurion at Old Joburg and Brakfontein, as well as in Monument Park on the R21 and Solomon Mahlangu Drive. Pointsmen also there reportedly on duty. If there's anything that you'd like to let us know about, any changes to some of our reports, please do feel free to let us know by sending us your latest traffic update on X. We're at EWN Traffic, or WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Sitting in a traffic jam is as fun as getting the last trolley with a squeaky, wobbly wheel. Why today? But fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are on the roads, easing traffic congestion so everyone gets where they need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using hashtag #PointsmenLove, licensed insurer and FSP.
The Aubrey Masangu Show on 702.
I cover on my show issues of advisory, whether it is legal matters, whether it is financial matters. I cover day-to-day issues as far as current affairs are concerned. I cover the politics of the day and how we as South Africans are interpreting them. My listener is a curious 702 lander. They want to know what are the backstories, the stories behind what we are hearing on the airwaves. They want to understand what drives the different issues that have us talking. What I love about the 702 family and 702 Land is the fact that we have 702 landers who are responsive, who are present, who care about their communities and who want to know how they can be a part of the process of making our areas better, but also our country better. And that for me is a great privilege. I am totally indebted to the providence out there to be talking to these people on a daily basis.
The Aubrey Masangu Show, weekdays from 8 to midnight.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Very interesting day at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Once again, suspended CFO of the Tshwane Metro, Gareth Mnisi, is the person who's putting forward arguments and explanations and facing questions and queries from the commissioners and from evidence leader Matthew Chaskelson. Thabiso Goba has been following this whole sequence at Madlanga because there's been a lot over a good many days now regarding the Tshwane Municipality Metro, and he's just joined us now. Thabiso Goba, that is. Thabiso, a very good afternoon to you. Sergeant Fani Nkosi is not in the room but very much in the conversation, and Mr. Mnisi was questioned quite closely on an invoice dispute, I believe. All of this to do with security contracts, which are coming up over and over again. But this particular invoice, why was it so much the focus today? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. I think the first interest is just what kind of invoice it was. We know that the Tshwane municipality has something called Watchman Services. So Watchman Services is basically a tender where the Tshwane municipality outsources private security guards to guard some of its critical infrastructure. The municipality doesn't have enough internal capacity to do it themselves. So how these kinds of Watchman Services work, there's two components. There's a fixed term component where a service provider will deploy a certain number of guards for a certain number of period, and they will get a fixed income based on the number of those guards. And then this is an important one, there's an ad hoc component to Watchman service. Now, ad hoc component is when if there is an emergency or if whatever need arises that a municipality needs to have watchman services at a particular site. And because this is not fixed, it can go on for long periods, and the deployment could be, it's ambiguous. It's up to discretion. It could be up to discretion. So what has happened is that ad hoc services at the Tshwane municipality have been abused because, as I said, this is up to discretion. It's not up to a fixed income. And they have been abused. And one of the companies that has been identified by at least 2 senior officials that have testified at the Madlala Commission is Gubis 85 Solutions. Right. So Gubis 85 Solutions was getting a lot of contractual work for ad hoc security services. The Deputy Chief, Mr. Revo Spies, even testified at the Madlala Commission that some of the work they were getting was unnecessary, and that some of the invoices that they submitted to the Tshwane municipality, they believed that there was no way of verifying whether they did that work. So what has happened is that Gubis Security Services, they went about 6 months submitting invoices to the Tshwane municipality and not being paid for those invoices. And for some reason, John, that's we'll probably never know why, because I don't believe that Mr. Mnisi was truthful about the reason. But for some reason, Mr. Sergeant Faninkosi, who neither works for the Tshwane municipality, neither works for Gubis 85 Solutions, he becomes an intermediary and involves himself in trying to solve this dispute between Gubis 85 Solutions and the Tshwane municipality. And he becomes this intermediary where people, Gubis 85 Solutions, they take their problems to him. He takes them either to the TMPD or to Gareth Mnisi. Now, Gareth Mnisi was asked about this. And you remember, John, that on Friday you said that Gareth Mnisi said the reason he was speaking with Sergeant Kosi is because he didn't have the contact details of another senior official within the Tshwane municipality who could help with this query. So Sergeant Kosi had details of that senior official, and they communicated through him. And obviously there was a lot of cross-examination to that in terms of why would you then involve someone who's outside of this process, who doesn't work for the municipality. And Mr. Mnisi, he did admit, saying that maybe in hindsight he could have dealt with the matter better. But I think the overarching point here, John, is that this is a company that it has been shown at the Madlala Commission, it got favorable treatment in winning the tender, and then it got favorable treatment in getting contractual work, ad hoc services, and then it also got preferential treatment when it had unpaid invoices. And again, this is a company where some of its directors were communicating directly with Sergeant Faninkosi, and Sergeant Faninkosi is a close associate and a close friend with Mr. Gareth Mnisi. So that's where the sort of conflicts of interest came about.
I'm fascinated by this, how often, and maybe it's just my impression, you've watched it more closely than me, Tabiso, that when anyone is questioned about a relationship that could be questionable, in other words, why are you communicating with this person so often? Why are you engaging with them on matters that are at best borderline, but possibly things you shouldn't be talking about at all? They're all close friends. I mean, are these all genuine, establishable? I know that's not quite the word, but are they verifiable friendships, or is this to some degree offered as an explanation for an extended conversation that may have other explanations?
Well, I think in the case of Mr. Gareth Mnisi and Mr. Sergeant Kosi, I think there is enough evidence to prove that they are actually friends.
Okay.
But however, because they have a lot of interests together, they go out together, they travel together, they into bikes together, and those WhatsApp conversations were shown at the Madlala Commission that they are genuine friends outside of this. But obviously the problem is that you can be friends with someone and not have to share internal municipal documents with them and discuss tenders with them, or even give them free tender advice, which is what Mr. Mnisi did at some point. And I think one of the general tone or general feeling that I've got from Mr. Mnisi's testimony at the Madlala Commission is that he speaks a lot about processes, and he speaks a lot about the limitations that his role, either as the Chief Financial Officer or the Chairperson of the Bid Adjudication Committee, saying that in both these roles, I cannot, under the current constitution of the Tshwane municipality, I can't influence tenders. But unfortunately, or what the Madlala Commission or what the commissioners have tried to say to Mr. Mnisi is that what we're asking you here about is not what you are allowed to do within your role. We've seen there's a lot of people who've come before the Madlala Commission, even though they are not empowered to do something, they will use undue influence to do something. So the question is not necessarily whether you have power to direct where tenders are awarded. The question is, did you have undue influence on where those tenders were awarded?
Yeah, in other words, did you use power and influence that was not yours by legislation, but was yours to use by dint of your position? It's fascinating stuff, and it's just laying bare layer after layer of ambiguity and, well, we'll find out what else in local government. Tshwane in the spotlight, Ekurhuleni before that. I think the JMPD, Thabiso was saying in an earlier conversation, also within the framework of the Madlanga Commission's brief. So that will be coming up soon to a commission near you. 24 minutes past 5. Thabiso, thank you.
Drive Home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
So last Friday, published in the Government Gazette, draft regulations that would take a big step forward towards changing the way in which government goes about procurement. I mentioned earlier, I wasn't sure of the exact amount government spends on goods and services, 1 trillion rand. In other words, lots of zeros and a huge amount of money. So what do the new regulations say and what do they change? To talk about this, we're joined by Hanki Matabane, who's CEO of the Black Business Council. Mr. Matabane, welcome and thanks very much for your time. I'm looking at a summary of these regulations and they point to all sorts of numbers that you need to meet. For example, 40% of your previous procurement had to have been spent on enterprises that are majority black owned if you want to qualify for a state tender. My first overarching question prompted by that to you is government any good at actually verifying that the documentation put before it is accurate and indeed verifiable? Good afternoon to you and welcome.
Good afternoon, Dr. John, and good afternoon to the listeners. Firstly, the regulations are long overdue.
Yes.
As you know, the president signed the act just before the GNU, and it has taken National Treasury an unacceptable almost 2 years to release the long-awaited regulations. But we welcome them, and because we are 32 years into democracy and the ownership of the economy is still one-sided, the 7% of the population owns 95% of the economy. The 93% of the population don't necessarily own anything; they own like 5% or so. So it's very, very important, I think, that we accelerate the pace of economic transformation. And part of the Public Procurement Act is to introduce technology in procurement. So that will obviously depend on if government is going to implement it properly. That will help in making sure that all these documents that are fake, non-compliant, and other things will be eliminated. And so that if implemented very, very well, and we hope maybe they can borrow something from SARS, because SARS is doing this type of things very well. That will take us a long way forward.
Yeah, do finish the thoughts and then I'll ask my next question.
Yes, I think what has also prompted this 40% previous spend is that most of the time, especially private sector companies, they're ticking boxes instead of actually buying from majority-owned, black-owned businesses. They go for levels like BE level 1, BE level 2, and so on. And we've visited some of these companies. You find that a company calls itself BE level 1, but it doesn't look like BE level 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Mr. Matabane, I mean, a different question and focusing more on outcomes than on numbers. I mean, it's one thing to say bidders will have to subcontract at least 30% of estimated contract value to South African citizens and so on. If what you're describing as a tick box exercise is indeed going on at the level that you say it is, one of the other consequences would be that some of the black business partners or black entrepreneurs getting opportunities through arrangements like this may well get a certain percentage of spend, but they're not necessarily building up as a business. They would then go and procure services from somebody else who may not be committed to empowerment at all. And that's why I'm interested in the subcontracting number. To what extent do you, as the Black Business Council, actually measure the extent to which government spend not only meets requirements as in law, but actually meets what should be the larger goal of changing the makeup of economic power, which is where you started in this conversation?
Yeah, so what we have done in the Public Procurement Act, in the primary legislation, we have something called set aside.
Right.
So what set aside does, it says if you've got a tender of, let's say, I'm just giving numbers, of 100 million, and then you say I'm setting aside 40 million of that to, let's say, black women companies. So even in the tender, it will only be black women-owned companies at tender. So any other person won't be able to allow to be tender, because that's where fronting happens. Someone comes and say I'm black woman while they are not black women. So we also at the same time had worked with the DTIC to make sure that fronting is unlawful. People who are caught fronting, they can also be taken to court, and then they can be dealt with, because that's very, very important. But set aside will help us in making sure that we can then be able to quantify.
Right.
Because you know, if that tender is only set aside for youth, it's only going to be young people who are going to tender. Any other person will be disqualified at the beginning.
Thanks so much. Khanki Matabane, CEO of the Black Business Council. 29 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Stephen Critis, a very good afternoon to you. Markets closed here. Markets are open in the US. What are we looking at in terms of a summary of today's trade?
I suppose the word of the day, John, is drift. So oil prices are drifting higher. The Strait of Hormuz is not drifting more open. And no one is really drifting through it either. And that's the problem. And that's really been what's driven our market. Not a lot of corporate news, is quiet at the moment. Also, of course, US markets also being impacted by what's happening with oil prices. So the ore share ending the day down a full percent, 120,005 points. Financials down 1.19, industrials down 0.09, and resources down 1.9% on the day. And that's particularly gold and then platinum miners too. Harmony down a full 4%. Sibanye-Stillwater down 3.59. They had a capital markets today. They're predicting that platinum output will actually get lower. That'll push prices higher, so that should be good for them, sort of, in a strange way. Also, they're looking for some sort of EU protection for that big lithium mine they're starting in Finland. Valterra's down 3%. DRD Gold down nearly 3%. Mr. Price, interestingly, down 2.87%, and the Foschini Group down 2.3%. This is probably also about inflation and interest rate expectations, particularly after the Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana said today that government would have to reimpose the fuel fill levy, so an extra R3 a litre on petrol and diesel in about 3 months from now. Just can't go any further. Sasol up 6.38% on oil prices. Tungela up 3.6% as well. And Glencore up 1.26% as well. British American Tobacco defensive stock, they're up 3.3%, while Omnia is up 1.3%. And Pick n Pay, interestingly, up 0.92% on the day. As I said, not a lot of corporate news, although Labat Africa saying their headline earnings per share should be up by over 100%. And then the city of Tshwane, while we saw that Gareth Mnisi was testifying again at the Madlanga Commission today, John, you've just been talking about the city of Tshwane formally telling the JSE that and its bondholders that he's been suspended, and Tabaseng Mokete is acting as the group chief financial officer for the next 3 months. So in the US at the moment, they're having quite a few results coming in, which I think is mitigating some of the damage of higher oil prices. But the Dow Jones is down 0.25%, the Nasdaq is down 0.92%, the S&P 500 is down 0.53%. The gold price $4,799.88 an ounce. Platinum, $2,077.40. Brent crude, $95.43. The rand to the dollar, 16.37 to the euro, 19.28 to the British pound, 22.14. On the Money Show tonight, we're hoping we will be speaking a lot more about the Inokorongwana comment and what that's going to mean for our economy. That fuel price will really sort of rip through it. We'll talk to the Independent Powers Producers Association, very angry with Eskom. They're accusing Eskom of bullying. And we will also be speaking to someone on How I Make My Money from 7:30, who seems to be doing quite nicely by selling food and coffee at a flat 14 Rand per product. So much the, massive, hugely expensive latte. I can't imagine who drinks them anyway. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Intriguing stuff. Everything for 14 Rand. I'm looking forward to hearing about that. 27 minutes now to 6 o'clock. Mbali Dlamini has the very latest news for you. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The ANC says it will consider replacing mayors in major cities with its chosen electoral candidates even before the local government elections. Secretary General Fikile Mbalula has defended the party's decision to consider candidates outside of regional leaderships to represent the party in municipal councils. Mbalula briefed journalists today where he outlined the party's election action plan. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
In a break from tradition, the ANC is casting its net wider than its formal structures to find suitable mayoral candidates in attempts to wrest back full control of metros and major cities. Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says this is neither a slight on elected leadership nor on the supporters who elected them, and local leaderships will not be discounted in the selection process.
We will go for the best, and we are not confining ourselves to who got elected. If the chairperson of the region among those who are interviewed is the person we believe can be the mayoral candidate, that will be it.
Mbalula says the party wants its successful candidates to begin work immediately.
We are running an ANC-led election campaign, not personalities. We are electing mayoral candidates just for quality assurance.
The ANC is set to announce its mayoral candidates for major cities by the end of June. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
The trial within a trial in the Lusikisiki mass murder case linked to the killing of 18 people in the Eastern Cape is now nearing its end as proceedings adjourn for a final witness. Accused number 4, Bonga Hinsa, will take to the witness stand tomorrow to testify about the alleged assault by police in this matter. 3 of the 6 men accused in the high-profile case have made claims of police using force to compel them to pen down their statements admitting to the mass murder in Ngobozana village back in September of 2024. Nhlanhla Mabaso is in Lusikisiki.
The trial within a trial in this case has brought slight delays on the actual trial. The court has spent weeks now trying to determine if the accused Apiwe Ndende, Siphoso Xolomayekete and Bonga Hinsa were indeed beaten by police. These claims have come short after accused 5 Songezovuma and accused 6 Mawethu Nomdlembu submitted their admissions of their involvement in the commission of the crime. The pair is pointing to accused 1, Mzuki Zindamase, as the mastermind behind the hit. Implicated officers have denied this, saying none of the accused had bruises or scars to prove their allegations. The matter has been adjourned to tomorrow to allow lawyers for accused 4 to consult with his client ahead of his testimony. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
And Aupen Road near the Kruger National Park has been closed off to traffic following the collapse of a bridge near the Wits rural facility. The bridge was washed away by heavy rains in that area at the weekend. Motorists planning to travel along this route are urged to use alternative routes as no vehicles can pass through at this time. Limpopo Transport Department spokesperson Mashudu Mabata says law enforcement and technical teams remain on site.
Motorists are urged to use the following alternative routes until further notice. Traffic from Mpumalanga use the R40 towards Hoedspruit to bypass the affected section. Traffic from Kruger National Park Open Gate reroute via Palabora to rejoin your intended route. Please plan for additional travel time and possible congestion on these alternative routes.
A cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 14 and 15 degrees and highs of between 23 and 24.
Heading towards the Joburg CBD, expect heavy delays on the M1 South between the Killarney Bends and the Crown Interchange. The M2 West is also backed up between Heidelberg Road and the Crown Turnoff, while in Protea Glen there's queuing traffic on the N12 West between Klipspruit Valley Road and the R558.
The top story in EWN, the ANC says it will consider replacing mayors in major cities with its chosen electoral candidates even before the local government elections.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes on 702.
My show is about your money, and it's about how people have made their money. But it's also about what happened to your money today, what happened on the JSE, what's happening overseas. All of these things, all about the way in which people make their money, spend their money, use their money, and in so many ways, use their money to make more money for them. What I absolutely love about the 702 family and 702 land is the huge warmth of people, the generosity that they show. But I also absolutely love the hustle. Anyone in business is actually trying to improve the economy. They're trying to have an impact on all of us. And there's a go-getting attitude to 702 land that you don't see in so many other places. That's what I really love about 702 land. That getting together and doing something new, and in the process, making money.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
702 family, we value what you think and we want to hear it face to face. This Thursday and Friday, we're opening our studio doors to 702 landers who'd like to share their thoughts about our station, your station. Your feedback, your ideas, it all matters to us. Everyone who comes through will get a full studio tour, see where the magic happens. If you would like to join us, and we hope you do want to join us, because we'd love to meet you, send an email to contact@702.co.za.
That's Sia, before he got naked. Sia had a bumper bash and had to reattach his fender using duct tape and a prayer. So Sia got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance in seconds and can now submit claims instantly on the Naked app. No more arts and crafts for you, Sia. Cover your car and home now at naked.insure and see how easy insurance can be when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Attention all shoppers. Our supermarket shelves are full of unhealthy food. It's often hard for me to know which foods are good for my family. The information on packaged food is complicated and hard to understand. I wish we had easy-to-understand warning labels on foods high in salt, sugar, and saturated fat. We have the right to know what's in our food. Support front-of-package warning labels on unhealthy packaged foods. Sign the petition on healer.org. That's HEALA.org.
Herschel Gibbs here, with more than just a crypto ad. Crypto payments are now live on 10bet. And there's more. Download the app, deposit, and get an extra 5% in cash. The future of betting, faster, safer, and smoother. Play now at 10bet.co.za. 10bet is a licensed betting operator and supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 shall be permitted to bet. Betting can be addictive. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. So my father once kind of told me this anecdote, or he just gave me this analogy to use when faced with road rage. He said, now and then you can be losing your cool, you'll be shouting and you'll be swearing at someone and basically going off the top of your head. But you never know what the next person is going through. So kind of having that empathy, kind of thinking about the next person. Because what if you are out and you're shouting about someone who was on their way to go and kill themselves, and you are now the final straw, or he'll get out and he'll decide to take you with him. So I think just keeping that in mind, that someone could have a gun and someone could be going through something worse than you and ready to take that out on you. Is something that really helps me, even though I do struggle quite a lot. Thanks, John. This is Michael Owen Sons from the East.
Hi, John. It's Coley in the West Rand. For dealing with road rage, I always, when I go on the road, just tell myself my life is much more important than what is happening up there. And I just stay calm. If someone is driving too fast, I just give way. If they are reacting, I just stay calm. And it helps because some of those things can really mess up your day and eventually your life.
Hi, Tata John. When it comes to road rage, I go by the Setswana idiom that says, "Ga bo boi, ga go liwe," meaning that if you're a coward and you stay away or you run away from um, fights and battles at times, is to really protect yourself and avoid losing your life, and I can only apply that to instances such as road rage, because really it's not worth it. It really takes a second for somebody to lose it and act in a way that could destroy someone else's life and even their own lives. So I just if somebody is driving inappropriately, I just ignore them. Honestly, I just look the other way and be the coward in a way. So it's not worth it. It's really not worth it.
Yeah, and what's prompted this conversation is the tragedy in Emmarentia in the inner northwest suburbs of Joburg on Sunday. And Risham puts that into context and says, "I also get upset sometimes. The incident has taught me to rather just be calm and move along." Good advice. Some days not so easy to follow it, but the advice remains excellent. It's 16 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Sundowns Tolakele, a CAF Champions League final to look forward to again.
Absolutely, John, and Miguel Cardoso will hope third time's a charm. That's when he leads out the Brazilians in the CAF Champions League final next month. They'll take on AS FAR following a 2-0 aggregate win over Esperance in the semi-finals. It'll be the third finale in a row for the Portuguese mentor, who previously led the Tunisians to the same stage in the 2023-24 season.
The teams that we are speaking about and are playing the other semi-final, they are on the level of Sundowns. They are on the level of Esperance. They have developed very good, strong teams and very good group of players. So it's with respect that we go for this final. And whoever thinks this final will be not as difficult as this semi-final is completely wrong. Maybe it will be more difficult even. Maybe it will be even more difficult.
The Brazilians also have a chance to win a double as they're still involved in the Betway Premiership title race alongside Orlando Pirates. Cardoso has discussed the work put in by him and his coaching staff to maintain the Pretoria side's high standards.
2 finals in a row, so I think that was exactly the objective of people that brought us inside the club, to try to create the right energy, the right mindset, the right approach, so that we could be stronger and take the club international in the highest level. I think that is exactly where we are now in the ranking. The last years we've beaten most of the more important teams in Africa.
Mikel Arteta believes that Arsenal can still win the Premier League title despite a 2-1 defeat to second on the log Manchester City. Victory for the Citizens moves them 3 points behind the Gunners, and victory over Burnley on Wednesday will see them leapfrog them on goal difference. For Arteta, he feels his side's inability to be ruthless in front of goal cost them against their championship rivals.
Margins are, we hit the post and I just look at the image. It's incredible how the ball doesn't go in. So there is an element of luck. There is an element there of timing, of execution. It's a lot of things that have to be your way. They didn't go our way, and we have to recognize that at the end, winning and not winning is going to come down to these moments. And there are certain individual moments that you need in order to achieve what we want. That's for sure.
The Proteas women go in search of a series-clinching win when they take on India in the third T20 on Wednesday. South Africa took a 2-0 lead in their 5-match series following an 8-wicket success in yesterday's clash. Sunelu's top scored with 57 with South Africa using the games to build up to June's World Cup.
As for Wednesday, we know there's a bit of rain around in Johannesburg, so anything can happen. I think it could possibly be a shortened game, and that brings excitement as well. If it was a 3-match series, it would have been lacquer, but big game on Wednesday to secure the series for us. We'll be looking at that, but at the end of the day, it's another game to prepare for the World Cup, and we're taking it like that.
And Nick Kyrgios will take part in this year's Halle Grass Court tournament in June, having not played a competitive singles match since January. The Australian has struggled with a series of wrist and knee injuries, which have limited him to just 7 singles matches between January 2023 and April 2026. Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, one more time out on the roads we go. Nkosi Corner, how are we looking? This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Still busy?
Yep, it's getting a bit better, but we're still dealing with some incidents that we previously reported on, John. Let's start at Limborough Park, precisely heading towards Limborough Park. There's an accident on the N3 South before Marlborough Drive, causing heavy delays right from the Buccleuch interchange. In Germiston, there are roadworks on the N3 North between the Haldenes interchange and Van Buren Road, slowing down traffic. The M2 East is also backed towards the turnoff as a result of those roadworks. There's peak time delays on the N1 South between the Buccleuch interchange and Winnie Mandela Drive. Also peak time delays on the N1 North between the Buccleuch interchange and Olifantsfontein Road. In Tembisa, roadworks are causing some delays on the R21 North approaching Olifantsfontein Road, while in Jed Park there's queuing traffic on the R21 South between Griffiths Road and the N12. In Kempton Park there's also slow moving traffic on the R24 East between Barber Road and Isanda Road, that is due to an accident. Heading towards the Joburg CBD, expect heavy delays on the M1 South between the Killarney Bends and the Crown interchange. The M2 West is also backed up between Heidelberg Road and the Crown turnoff. And we wrap off in Protea Glen, where there's queuing traffic on the N12 West between Klipspruit Valley Road and the R558. If we have missed anything, please, as always, feel free to let us know by sending us your latest traffic update. On X, we're at EWN Traffic, or WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Things people stress about in traffic. Number 52.
Did the kids actually do their holiday homework, or are they going to make it my homework?
Oh, the drama. Well, with the Outsurance Pointsman on your route, at least the traffic is one less thing to stress about. The Outsurance Pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
The Clement Manyatela Show on 702.
The Clement Manyatela Show is about everything. It's about current affairs, family matters, the work environment, your health and wellness, relationship and sex issues that couples face. It's about learning, helping each other, healing, teaching. It's about life in essence. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is that we are quite intentional about doing life together. We're always pulling through for each other, learning from each other, always teaching each other. We're not scared to disagree, but also we're brave enough to be vulnerable with each other. We just care about each other, and I think that is priceless.
The Clement Manyatela Show, weekdays from 9 to 12 p.m.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, Jonathan Fairbairn is with us now. We're going to talk a little bit of music now. We often talk about, Jono, music for special occasions like first dance, and we had with Stephen Curtis playlist for his daughter's birthday and so on. But you've come up with a playlist for a very unusual occasion, but some people might relate to it. Set the scene for us and tell us what the person who posted this on social media actually had to say.
So it comes down to flying, and when you are flying, some people are anxious flyers, and when there's a little bit of turbulence or a lot of turbulence flying, you could get very anxious, right? So if there could be a song that you would play for yourself to like sort of make it all okay and cut out the noise from the airplane, and you just go into that song, what would that song be? And the reason we came up with that is I saw a post on one of the stories on Instagram from a friend of mine. And I think she had just got off one of the local airline flights. And she said, I can't tell you what the appropriate song or playlist is to play during a severe bout of turbulence while you're low-key praying that you land safely. But I can tell you, Usher ain't it.
Okay.
No, she picked this song, Usher, who's the artist, and the song is called Hey Daddy, Daddy's Home.
Okay.
Now, can you imagine you're flying, you're 20,000 feet up in the sky, the turbulence, the plane is shaking. This probably wouldn't be the song that you would play
So
to
what
help
would
relax
be?
you. No, well, let's hear this song, and then maybe you could think,
yes, but I'm
okay.
throwing that out to the audience.
Yes.
As you listen to this, start thinking, what is the song, either the one that you absolutely would play to get you through a period of turbulence, or maybe you want to add to the list of just don't. Press play on this one. But let's hear Usher first.
Usher, baby. I just want to get your attention. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. I really wanna be all up in your head. Yeah, cause what I got, you gon' wanna get some. Yeah, but girl, that's only if you ain't scared. And I won't knock, won't ring no bell. You just put that bottom up in your head. I'll get you hot, I know you want so well. Say daddy's home for me. And I know you've been waiting for this loving all day. You know your daddy's home.
Hey Daddy, Daddy's Home, Usher from 2010. So the question we're asking you, if you're listening to music while you're flying and then suddenly, I'm not talking about a little bump here and a little bump there, you know, back to your seats kind of stuff. Serious turbulence, and with the storms we've been having, I would have thought a lot of you have been going through that as you've flown up and down the country or further. What's on your playlist? If you hit some turbulence, or you may just want to say, well, I don't know what I would play, but I know exactly what I wouldn't play. So let's get it from you on 072 702 1702. 6 minutes to 6.
702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabodja.
702 Afternoons is about all things in life, from music to inspiration. We get an opportunity to explore science, mental health, food. I almost feel like there's nothing we don't do on my show. One of the things I absolutely love about 702 Land and the 702 family is that we are so sharing. We share tears, laughs, smiles. We share in the amazing times and celebrate together as well. We have a range of topics, but when it comes to what we do cover on the show, absolutely everything. My listener is somebody who wants to grow, evolve, develop. They're empathetic, they are loving. They are so special that even when they don't have, they come through and share, and more importantly, they know how to walk the talk.
702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabodja. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m.
Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis presents the School of AI, the first of its kind in Africa, powered by 100 world-class AI experts delivering cutting-edge training, consulting, and real-world AI solutions. Regenesis has embedded compulsory AI modules across all their programs and 12 of their schools, from business and law to education and technology. Join the movement now. Enroll at regenesis.net. Regenesis, one institution leading the way.
Being in construction has taught me that buying machinery doesn't come cheap. Loaders, excavators, graders, they're the heartbeat of the job site. Now, thanks to My Way Business Insurance, I save up to 20% on my insurance premiums every month. This saving helps keep my machines working and projects moving.
Switch to My Way Business Insurance and save up to 20% on your yellow metal machinery. Real businesses, real savings. Call us on 0860 646464 today for a quote. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. Standard rates and T's and C's apply.
In business, missed deliveries cost more than money. Go Girl Logistics is South Africa's 100% black female-owned Level 1 Triple BEE powerhouse, delivering secure, time-sensitive transport for parcels, cold chain cargo, and compliance waste. With DG trained drivers, cold chain certification, national reach, and real-time tracking, every load is handled professionally, safely, and on time. Go Girl Logistics, power beyond cargo. Visit gogirl-logistics.com.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John and the team. If I were to experience serious turbulence, I'm definitely listening to Owl City Fireflies. Although I don't quite get the meaning of the song, I love how calming it is to me. It really calms me down. So definitely Owl City Fireflies.
Hello, 702 and Tate John. The song that I would probably want to listen to if I was in a turbulent plane would definitely be Nickelback. If today was your last day, tomorrow was too late, would you say goodbye to yesterday? I think it starts like, my best friend gave me the best advice. He says today's a gift and not a given right. Either that or if tomorrow never comes.
He said each day's a gift and not a given right. Leave no stone unturned, leave your fears behind, and try to take the path less traveled by. That first step you take is the longest ride. If today was your last day, tomorrow was too late, could you say goodbye yesterday?
Yeah, good one. Thank you for that. Both the singing and the suggestion. I hope you're in the seat next to me, by the way. If there's severe turbulence, I might have forgotten my headphones. I might not have that on my playlist. Hasmukh says, John, Pink Floyd, Learning to Fly. Pete will get through the storm by turning to the doors. Riders on the Storm. Very moody song. And Roger takes a lighter touch and chooses an Arlo Guthrie song from 1969, Coming into Los Angeles. Great song. No time to play it. We don't have it handy, but check that out.
Hey there, John. It's the Far East Movement, and the song's name is like a G6. I think that while you're going down is perfect. It's Kevin Struben's really.
When we drink, we do it right. Getting slizzard, sipping scissor. Been my ride, like 3-6. Now I'm feeling so fly, like a G6, like a G6, like a G6. Now I'm feeling so fly, like a G6, like a G6, like a G6. Now I'm feeling so fly, like a G6. Give me that mo wet. Give me that crystal.
My watch has just told me it's time to move, stand up and walk around. It is, in any case, time to say goodbye from the 702 Drive team because it is close to 6 o'clock. We'll see you tomorrow. The Money Show is next. Good night.
And now, The Money Show.
with Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV Channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking, engineered for how Africa trades. That's how invested ABSA is in your story. Good evening. On your Money Show tonight, the battle over the independence of our electricity